got nothing. No, welcome back to which one? Wait, where am I? Dynasty Grind. Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. I know where I am. Yeah, where we talk every Wednesday at 9:30 about anything Dynasty related, things that are going on at the moment, things that might be going on in the future. Weekly advice for a long-term format. That was a great idea. Drop any questions or comments you have in whatever comment boxes on the platform you're listening to. I got nothing to start the show. Actually, I got nothing. What I would say is Zach Reed isn't going to be able to join us tonight, and so that's what I kind of wanted to frame for you. He's actually been he's taken sick and has to stay away from his family right now, and so I wanted to start with the show with please send out good thoughts, vibes, maybe a like, maybe wish him well on Twitter, because the worst part for him is not feeling bad. It's that he has to stay away from his kids for a little while, and that is basically the worst possible punishment I think Zach could ever imagine. So he's probably not feeling very well right now for that reason alone. So, send some good vibes his way. So unfortunately, he won't be with us, but we do have Dynasty Outhouse, which is good, and me, which is you're forced into accepting me, I guess, at this point. But at least we got Russ. So let's send Zach some good thoughts, and let's grind some Dynasty. Hey Russ, how's it going?
Yeah, if you ever want to feel like a bad parent, just listen to Zach talk about how much he likes his kids.
I know. I was like, he was telling me he was sick, and how did he telling me that he is sick end up in me feeling like a bad father? Like, How does that zigzag into? But yeah, worst possible punishment for him. Not that anyone was hoping to find out how to punish Zach the best, but it's very bad for him. And we wish him well. We hope he gets to feeling better.
But I mean, I'm ready to grind some Dynasty. That's what I'm here for.
I know. I knew that was a mistake the minute I said it. I was like, nah, that's not
you said
a thing.
It.
Let's not.
It's a thing now.
Let's not make that a thing. Yeah. So this is like your week, though, right? This is like your fantasy. Like the NFL decided it lives in a trade addicts league and just went freaking nuts. So like, hopefully, you can carry us to some places.
I can't explain the joy in where my soul used to be when there was like two people who I've never actually talked to before tweet out something like someone said I think like the Broncos coach did an outhouse challenge, or like I think Outhouse became the GM of this team, and I'm just like I don't know you, but I love you. like yeah.
Bazaltzberg was in the chat early today, 7:30. I didn't even know it was available that early, but thanks very much. I'm having trouble reading this message, so you're gonna have to bear with me. I think there are 3 trades on offer, or at least 2 trades, and the third option is always.
I love this because there's either not enough punctuation or too much punctuation. It's way too much punctuation.
There's certainly enough brackets. I think maybe a few full stops would have helped.
Go back and read the articles I wrote for DLF. The editor of DLF and Zach, who I made read all of my stuff before that, he's like, dude, just stop with the parentheses. You don't need to say the things you say 6 times. People get it. And I'm like, but they might not, because I don't talk smart. Because when I talk, I'll start talking like, yeah, well, I mean, and I'll always and they're just like, no, knock it off. And I'm just like,
well, my death was when I learned I could use the little dash button as like a second aside within a sentence. So I can use brackets to separate out something from a sentence. And then in that sentence, because you don't want to do double brackets, that would be ridiculous.
That gets so
you can also do a little dash as like a second aside. And I am a fan
of
long-running sentences. So
I'm glad I never learned.
I don't know it's a thing, but I just figured out like it makes sense to me. And I'm like, okay,
it works. That's all that matters.
A second aside. Yeah, there you go. Also with DLF, the thing that gets me with DLF and punctuation is trying to keep up with the writing rules and when you can use a number or when you have to write the number, or when you can say, I just want to say wide receiver 23. I shouldn't have to write out all those letters.
Oh, whenever it was, even if it was RB number 4, I did not write out running back. I did not write out 4. I did not care, and I wouldn't fix it. Like, no, I'm saying this the way it's supposed to be said because that's the way we show it to everyone. But otherwise, yes, if it's
everyone knows what you mean. It's
under
fine.
10 or 20, you're supposed to write the number out. I don't know. I'm kind of glad I don't write anymore.
I think it's 12. It's 12 and under, or 12 is okay to type. And I'm like, that just looks ridiculous because I'm talking about ranks. And sometimes it's like running back 3 and you have to write the entire thing out. And then the next sentence is running back 11 and I don't write it out. It's like, come on, man. No, that's not consistent.
The only time I wouldn't use like RB4 because it's supposed to be a running back, but you feel the need to say an RB because the way you pronounce RB.
Right. It should be an RB, right?
Because then I would change it to a number 1 running back, in which case I would spell it all out.
No, all my Grammarly and dictionaries are set to British English because I was feeling cheeky when I signed up on my computer. I'm technically speak British English, but now I'm constantly telling me to correct things because it's not the British spelling. And then I send it to DLF, and they're like, "Did you run this through Grammarly?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I did." And they're like, "It's all British spelling." I'm like, "Well, I'm British." They find it less cheeky. They find it more annoying.
You're worldly. You're adding culture.
Especially since my articles take a little bit more editing than most, if we're honest. And they're like, and I was trying to switch it in Word today. I was trying to switch it to like the American dictionary. And once you've signed up, once you've downloaded and said this one, it's remarkably difficult to find that setting again.
Oh, that's so stupid.
So
crap, I'm on the clock.
Anyway, and also we got.
Good. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, welcome to the Dynasty Grind, where we talk about the difficulties grinding out Dynasty articles on a weekly basis.
That's what they're here. They're here just to listen to us talk. They don't care about what we say.
Oh, they don't really care about hearing about us talk. It's more like an obligation from the court. That's what I think.
All right, so do your best. Let's go.
Bazaltzberg's trades. The first one is send Mooney in a second to get Najee Harris for his running back 2 because he's 4-4 and in 6th place overall.
That is so easy. Yes, I don't care that it's an early second.
Or Mooney in a second, 23 for both. I'm assuming the same one, and get Pittman.
I like that too. Okay, so here's my thing. I just signed up for NFL Plus, what used to be Game Pass, so you could watch the condensed versions of the games, which is, it's a little too condensed. Like, give me a second or 2 in between plays. They don't. It's like play ends, bam, right to the next line. Like, they're already lined up. Like, give me a few seconds, but no, just right to it. But I watched the Steelers game mostly because I wanted to see Jalen Hurts and all of AJ Brown's touchdowns. But the Steelers, man, that line is so bad. Like,
I know it's not Najee Harris's. Even I know that. It's not the kid's fault.
He's getting hit 2-3 yards behind, and he breaks the first tackle. Like, it is not his fault. So, like, if you want Najee for next year, this is great.
That's what I was going to ask you, because here's the thing. That first trade, let's just deal with the first one. Mooney in a second for Najee. Mooney and Najee are decent targets for me for next year. Because this year, I think Mooney could do a little bit more towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Which means I'm interested in trading for him now. Whereas Najee, I want him next year, but you've got the offseason and he's a running back.
Yeah.
And that's what's got me conflicted. Like, I think Mooney does more to change his value before the end of the season, but I want both. So I'm not, I don't know.
Najee.
So here's my answer, Bolt.
26 already?
He's 25.
Right. So next year he's going to be 20. Like, wait to acquire Najee because his value is going to go down with the running backs that are coming in, with people, regardless of what Pittsburgh does to their offensive line or anything. They're just going to say Pittsburgh's bad. We don't want Najee. In which case, you will be able to get him pretty easily. So, like, I don't know if. Like, first of all, this is a great price anyway. So if you want Najee,
that's what yes. Sorry, stop saying everything I want to say. Yeah, because here's the thing. This is a great trade. I would do this for Najee. Or whatever, however Russ says the name, because he doesn't sound like a moron. But at the same time, like, I just wanted to throw that out there. I like Mooney still.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well. Like, I don't think you have to be scared of Mooney anymore. First of all, that offense in general has been getting better. They've been letting Fields throw a little more. And I be upset about Claypool stealing targets all you want. No. Mooney shouldn't be the only guy there. Claypool being there is good for Darnell Mooney. The offense being better will be better for the players on offense. So I'm not worried about that either. Do you have to do any of these trades? Honestly, they make your team better, but by how much? Like, all right.
I think the Pittman trade is probably a walk-off win, even right now. Like, I don't think Mooney gets to Pittman's value at any point, even if he's going to have a competitive points per game next year. So I think I'd take Pittman. Or Najee. Like, I like both these trades, but if you're selling, do Pittman.
Dynasty move.
Yeah. That's what I'd say, just to skip ahead. The trade you want here is get Pittman, but, like, maybe send another one for Najee, if not soon, then this offseason or something. And also get Mooney back at some point. Yeah. You can't have everything, Pete. Okay, just get Pittman because you're more interested in next year right now. But keep your eye on Najee at least. Mooney I like, but my expectation for his
since week 4,
it's not what you want.
Like, the first 3 weeks were kind of scary, but he has never had less than 5 targets since week 4. Week 6, he had 12. But 13 points, 7 points, 14 points, 8 points, 12 points. That's good for Darnell Mooney. I mean, that's also full PPR, and this is half, so it's going to be a little less for you. But I mean, not all that much. Like,
he's basically
a player on your roster. Pittman will be better.
He's basically the wide receiver equivalent of Najee Harris, but he's slightly older, especially considering his age curve and his breakout rate. And running backs with that upside, he's got more upside at the running back position than Mooney has at the wide receiver position. So for the first trade, I will probably take Najee, whether I'm winning or losing. For the second trade, I would take Pittman. With both on the table, I take Pittman because that's better, just a better dynasty move. With both, you're looking towards next year. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, I still like Mooney, and I think if I get him for this value in a different trade, like, this is Mooney being worth a second, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that at some point, especially because his production could definitely trend up. Like, the thing about the Chase Claypool trade is I now like every wide receiver on both those teams more.
I know, right?
Like, that's the net effect. I like Pat Freiermuth a little bit more now. And I liked him a lot.
Yeah, you did.
But not Chase Claypool. Like, poor kid, man. Such a great rookie season. He's good at what he does, but we play fantasy. We're not NFL taking here. I hope he continues to have a great career, but, like, fantasy-wise, that's where I'm at. Someone called Dynasty Outhouse Truther says, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the best Dynasty show. And this one.
This one. Yes. Not sure what the best one is, but
do it to this one too. When rebuilding, how many firsts do you target acquiring? I don't know. I have a number for you there. Is there a point of too many firsts in a class?
Okay.
No.
Let me spin you a tale of Jonathan McCann and the J Mike Invitational, where J Mike had 14 of the first 16 picks of the 2021 draft. Think of who was in the 2021 draft: Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase. Well, I mean, Javonte was going good for a while. Like, all of it, and he won last year because he had every single pick in the draft. Like, okay, so here's what, if I'm rebuilding, I love getting as many as humanly possible because, first of all, it just feels awesome to be like, yo, I got 8 of 12 firsts. Take that. But also, especially in a year like 23, in a year like 24, what I'm hearing, those picks are going to continue to increase in value. So if I end up with 6 firsts, I'm trading half and using half. And if I can squeeze together every ounce of patience I have in my body, which is not a lot, I try and wait until the draft itself to make those trades. I'm not great at that, especially because people know the players I like, so they'll offer me those players for the first, and I'm like, I want to know who that pick is going to be, but yeah, I'm taking this guy, of course. Like, so yeah, but there's no such thing as too many. Even last year, when we thought it was a crappy draft class, not you, Peter, because I know you don't think there's such thing really, but
I don't believe in drafts. I don't think they exist.
Yeah,
prove me wrong.
Fair enough. Can't. People will still want them, or you can use them, and people will want the players eventually. Like, there's no such thing as too many picks.
I was going to say, the thing about picks is they don't have to be picked. You don't have to make them. It's just players that can't devalue, if you think about them as that way. In fact, players that are more likely to steadily... They're like, fucking, I don't do investments, but I've heard the term of like... what does Warren Buffett say you have to invest in? It's like those slow and steady returns that have no fancy stuff, but they do accrue over time, and they're safe and they're boring, but that's where most people should be investing. That's what picks are. Like, they're not, unless you make a pick and it turns out to be Jamar Chase, there's no great upside in picks. They're just slow and steady, and they slowly improve, and more people will be interested. You've always got a guarantee that someone will take something or give you something for them later.
And what's always a great move to do, because Zach isn't here to say it, what you do is you have a 23 first that's towards the end, and you don't really know what you want to do. You want to try and trade out. What you do is you find a player, a nice young player you like, that's worth Darnell Mooney. Trade your 23 first that's on the clock for Darnell Mooney and a 24 first.
Yeah.
You kick it down down the line. You get a player you like, and you get to do it all again next year. And you're not just kicking it down, you're getting something on top. You're getting a player also.
You're trying to maintain or improve your points per game while adding value. That's Dynasty 101. I was going to say, I'm dumb. Like, I was answering another question that no one asked me. I just butted in, as I tend to do. Hey, here's my answer, by the way, stranger. But it's one of those questions that makes me always think that I should say, by the way, in your league, if you can get Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, go get those two instead of everything I just said, because I don't know what your league's like. Like, I think the question was, do I trade Leonard Fournette for Travis Etienne? And I was like, I mean, no, I don't think they'll accept that. It's like, no, he's offered it to me. I'm like, then yes. And it's that type of question. Like, it would not occur to me to tell anyone to do that. And that makes you, because I mean, who's doing that? Apparently someone's doing that. So just in case, always get Chase and Jefferson if you can. But right on average, looking at the trends, I'm guessing in most leagues, I don't think I'm buying 23 picks from here on out. I think they're overpriced. I've been on to 24 for a while, and it's worth pointing that out. Like, in your league, it might be different. You could be able to go get Chase or Jefferson equivalent. But like, I'm not. At this point, I'm more likely to trade anything I have in 2023 away than make those picks or trade for those. But again, there are always exceptions.
Yep.
So, Lofty 08, 10-team, 1QB, PPR, start 9. No tight end premium. Give Jacoby, get Schultz. The T I have right now is Waller, Maru. So Maru until Waller gets healthy about week 9 or so, probably. That has to be pretty gross this year. Now, I mean, Jacoby's like wide receiver 13 on the season, by the way, total points. So he's probably going to finish lower than that, but like, it's the most disrespected top 24. He's no longer allergic to touchdowns.
Which is, I love it. I am so happy for him.
I think this is a fine trade. You get a startable tight end, and Schultz can be top 12. We saw it last year. I typically am not putting value into the tight end position unless I'm getting it really cheap, this is kind of really cheap because of the value of Jacoby in Dynasty, but the points are good, so it's awkward. Or I'm going all the way up. So generally I'd say no. I'd say this is fine, though. You just need to start a tight end. I'd start Schultz over Moreau. So, man,
like, yeah, Jacoby in per game is wide receiver 13. His last few games, 24, 10, 11, 21. Even in a start line, I think you're playing him, in which case I think I just hold him and find something else at tight end, because I like Schultz, because if I don't have one of the top guys, I want to have a guy.
Fine. Yeah.
I want to have the safe guy, the guy I can just plug in every week and not worry about it. And that's the definition of Dalton Schultz. But if it's at the cost of someone who should be in my starting lineup, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go see if I can get Greg Dulcich or
Pat Freiermuth.
I mean, Muth isn't cheaper than Schultz probably, but
probably about the same.
Evan Engram. No one likes him, but he's scoring really well. Hayden Hurst, at least for the next few games until Chase comes back. I mean,
go down or go up is the typical logic at tight end. And Jacoby, the value's right.
Like, there's so many players you can get for cheap that if Jacoby isn't like your wide receiver 6, you should go for
That's the other thing I was going to say. If he's a wide receiver 3, just keep Jacoby, keep playing him.
Yes. If he should sneak into, smell your lineup, you keep him because that's a good player to have in your lineup.
140 yards per touchdown this year, which is actually above average for a wide receiver. Last year, it was like all the yards for no touchdowns.
So happy.
And that's not with, he doesn't have a heavy red zone presence, which is in one case bad, but it also means he's not just scoring touchdowns just in the red zone. He's doing pretty well this year.
I legitimately remember him scoring that first touchdown and the entire team running to congratulate him. Like, I got teary-eyed, and I hate the Patriots because it was so sweet. Like, years.
I remember last year everyone being like, this is the week he catches a touchdown this week, and it was just no. The most obvious progression.
Poor guy.
God damn. He ruined DFS for people last year, I'm sure. D Magoon, 10-team Superflex PPR, start 11. Got offered a 23. Again, see, sometimes you can find 23 first on offer. For Pacheco and my DJ Moore. That's rough, but yeah, I think I'd take a first for DJ Moore.
This is the best Moore has done. I don't know if we're talking about a QB upgrade. I mean, like...
Yeah, Moore's actually having another top 24 season. He's fine.
Here's my 10-team. DJ Moore's still only 25. There's a good chance there's going to be a wide receiver coming in this draft that is less than a year younger than DJ Moore. And DJ Moore's been in the league since, for what, 4 years? 5 years? I can't do math right now, but 2018, right? Like, I guess you do this because...
I don't think it's...
I think the answer is you do it because it's super flex. I think you do it. But I don't think you have to. If you like DJ Moore, this isn't like the value's too good, I can't pass it up. And don't even consider Pacheco in this. Like, if you take the trade, you get Pacheco, but that is zero value in this trade. So
it's just DJ Moore for a first.
Yeah, and it depends.
What I would say is a whole bunch of 25-year-olds who aren't just carried by hype. Like, we love DJ Moore. He's great, but he's a top 24 wide receiver. The Dynasty has always wanted to value more than that because he's so great. And there's just more with more upside at that age and at that similar value. So you take the first and you see what else you can make out of it. That's me.
That is the smart move, yes.
Well, it is a move. It's one move I would do.
Exactly.
Lagoon,
it's
but it's your team.
Peter Smart.
And if you keep DJ Moore, you're fine. He's going to be top 24 wide receiver. He's going to be a top 24 wide. It's your team. You can roster how you like. But I think you can do more with that first. You can make more trades to more teams and probably improve your team at a better rate.
Yes.
Wyatt Miller, again, in your league, you've got the best insight into whether it is. Wyatt Miller, 12-team Superflex, Kyler Murray, Deontay Johnson, a 23-second for Lamar Jackson and Scary Terry. Yeah, I want the Kyler Murray side here.
Yeah, Kyler and Lamar are kind of the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Kyler might be more consistent, but his ceiling hasn't been there. So if Kyler and Lamar are probably same tier, you can cross them off. So Deontay Johnson in the second for Scary Terry. Yeah, give me Deontay Johnson in the second.
There you go. We agree on one. Look at that. Bazaltzberg's back. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, no tight end premium. He's going to perhaps send Kareem Hunt, receive Dalton Schultz. That's the other option. He's got to get Dalton Schultz.
Oh, I would. Yes, I would send Kareem Hunt over Jacoby Myers.
I think it's about even. Again,
but
is Jacoby a wide receiver 3?
You're never going to want to put Hunt in your lineup.
He's running back 2, so he's worth less to me in general. But he does have upside.
Yes, 1000% he
To
does.
me, the question gets answered. If Jacoby is a wide receiver 3, sure, use Hunt instead. Yeah. Superflex 12 team, Hawkinson or Keenan Hawkinson?
Hawkinson.
I hate the end of wide receivers fantasy value careers, but it's just Hawkinson. And what do you expect of Hawkinson in his new home?
Addison and I did the DLF trade show today, and we did Hawkinson. There's value in Hawkinson right now. There are some very good trades to send him away. If you're the one sending away Hawkinson, aim higher.
Yeah. Rambo, don't shoot. 12-team Superflex tight end premium. Start 10. Rebuilding. He's got Damian Pierce and a late 23 first for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Late 23 second.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Amon-Ra.
Yes. The answer is Amon-Ra, but also I don't think you need to rush this. Well, I always talk like it's my leagues. If you don't have a trade deadline, you don't have to rush this right now. Pierce is doing too well. His value isn't going to change even if he has 2 bad games in a row. But Amon-Ra is a player you're going to want to build around. So if you're,
I was going to say like a bad performance or 2 could swing that, but Damian Pierce had a bad performance last week and had like 14 PPR points. Like, I mean, he's got the volume. So yeah, Russ is right. You don't have to rush. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be more. I don't think he's going to want to trade that by the offseason because he's going to be a young wide receiver with top 12 potential, and it's the offseason, so no one's scoring points. So
what's really funny was in
points
October,
can get trades done.
Yeah, October's DLF, Amon-Ra St. Brown was wide receiver 3 and 4th overall. Mm-hmm. You know, he was hurt like 2 games in the past month, and in the November mock, he fell down to the 210.
Yep. I just keep my eye on keep trade cut because week to week it's very reactionary, and not that therefore we should follow it, but gives you some sort of insight into what your league mates might be feeling on a week to week basis.
I have
and he's fallen a little bit, but he's still up there.
Yes, he's still a player you should build around. He's a wide receiver you hold on to.
And it's something I was trying to talk about in my podcast this week. Like in season, points are important, but points, if you know you're not competing, you're not in the top 3, you've got more opportunity to make more trades to some teams because they want points. And this offseason, everyone's going to stop caring because points don't matter. They should do anyway. And be like, no, wide receiver over running back. And no, I don't want Josh Jacobs because who needs Josh Jacobs? But right now, any points help grease a trade. And that's what you're trying to do. If you're accepting or declaring, I'm building, then you're trying to use points to grease trades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fine. Robert, 12-team Superflex, start 10. He's also rebuilding. It's week 8. I get it, guys. We're all rebuilding.
We're all rebuilding.
3 teams in every league not rebuilding. He owns 6 23 first. Was sent Herbert and a second for Tua, Waddle, and Pollard. So you would get
Justin Herbert,
Tua, and Waddle and you would send Herbert in a second?
Okay, so they would get Justin Herbert in a second, and they would send Tua, Waddle, and Pollard.
I want Waddle. I think that's well established. But no. Not in a Superflex. It's just no. I like Tua too, though. Damn. And
I want Tua and Waddle. Right. I got to be honest. I love Justin Herbert. He is he's the top of the second tier if he's not in your first tier. But Tua's playing so freaking well. That offense is ridiculous, and they're passing a lot.
Why is he offering you Pollard? It's so he doesn't have to send a first, and you don't want Pollard's points. You don't want them. So take Pollard out, counter, and get a first. Take Pollard out and get a little bit better. You don't need Pollard.
I still like,
I still like Tua and Waddle, but you don't want Pollard, so I might counter.
I mean, you could still do it and then move Pollard.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Anyway, I like Tua. Do you really think he's got Herbert, that top 5 QB upside? I don't know why I felt like I had to show you what 5 looks like, but I did. That number?
Hold on. Let's pull
Okay.
up quarterbacks scores.
I like Tua a lot, man, but I won't model. I know that's a tough one,
Herbert
Robert.
is
That's what I'm
Herbert's
coming
20
down on.
points per game. Tua is 22 points per game. Tua is scoring more than Herbert.
All right.
Tua and Waddle. This is actually getting easier the more I think about it.
I think it's down this year. Chargers are struggling, but
oh yeah, 100%. But just to say, like, this can be an outcome. It might not be an every year outcome, but
if you can get something out of Pollard, if not in a counter, then something else from another league mate, then sure. Yeah, but you are selling a top 5 quarterback, so you know. But it's Waddle, sure. I'm going Waddle to it. Let's do it. Why not? He's got McBride, for which I would like to apologize. I feel like I'm responsible for every McBride.
Oh, I have a whole lot of McBride.
I have a lot of McBride. Any worry that Tua suffers another concussion? I have a worry that all players are going to suffer concussions. As far as does one concussion make another concussion more likely? That medical research is honestly too sophisticated for me. From what I understand, successive concussions are more dangerous, and that would be my concern.
Yeah. From what I read, getting a concussion does not make another concussion more likely, but it should be a longer recovery.
Yeah,
it is what I read. I mean, it was a while ago at this point, so I don't know if there's new stuff out since then. But honestly, do we remember that, like, DJ Moore? No, Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks got like 6 concussions in 5 games or something. Like, of course, I'm exaggerating, but like, we thought Brandon Cooks was going to retire at one point because he had like 3 concussions in 2 years, like, and bad ones, bad hits. Like, it's like, this is. Are you worried about this running back because he might hurt his knee? We're worried about every running back because they might hurt their knee.
Every NFL player. So I think this washes out to we can't predict injuries, but concussion specifically are this nasty brand of modern stuff going on. And outside of fantasy, what I would be concerned of is, from my understanding, concussions don't get better. You have a longer recovery, but you've damaged your brain. Like, we all damage our brain every time we rattle our skull. And NFL players are rattling it at a much higher rate. Like, it's not like you recover and your brain gets better. Like, that damage is permanent. And so from a real life perspective, yeah, I'm worried. But that again boils down to a concern about every player. Fantasy, I don't think you can use it as a deciding factor. I just like Tua. I think he's capable. I think he's going to keep being capable. First 3 years of his career, Matthew Stafford was injury prone. He was Sam Bradford level injury prone. He can't stay healthy. This is stupid. And you know, he just kept playing. So injuries are always going to be I don't know. You can make a guess. You might be right or wrong, but it's just a 50-50 from our point of view. Zach, in deep dynasty leagues, what can you get for Deion Jackson from a JT owner? There you go.
You're not getting a second. I mean, I can't get a second for Deonta Foreman, who is the starting running back on their team.
Yep. Order 66, 12-team Superflex PPR. And get it, by the way, because that's fleeting. 12-team Superflex PPR 1 tight end premium. Start 10. Give J.K. Dobbins and a mid to late 23 first. Get CMC. Yes, get CMC. Always get CMC. I would do that for
CMC.
Get CMC is pretty much.
I mean, yeah, like, if you want to win, you get CMC. Dobbins isn't doing it for you this year. Dobbins isn't worth a first right now. So a first and a second for CMC is, especially him coming off a game where he ran through and caught a touchdown for the first time since 05, I think it was. Like, yeah, go get CMC for a first and a second.
Even if you're not trying to win, I think the top 3 teams in your league will give you more than this, honestly, in return. So he's probably going to ask him the wrong person and take advantage of that. That's fine. Howdy's heroes. Many happy hump day, gents. Oh, thank you. 10-team, 1 QB, 2 running. That's the format. He's got CMC, JT, and Montgomery. And there's his wife. There's his. Read the thing. Okay. I want to make my running back more competitive. Does he trade Devontae Smith for Josh Jacobs?
Yep.
Cheers. If you're winning, you do that. I hate it though because Devontae Smith's a little underrated.
He's good. Devontae Smith is very good. Yeah, but he is that is an order like JJT, Lamb, DK Smith, or JJ.
Yeah, I was in my head. I was like, can you trade Monty for something like that? No.
Oh yes, if you can pull Monty and
it's got to be Smith.
For Jacobs, go do that instead for sure. But
yeah, that's fine. And good luck winning, man. Howdy 60 order 66. Howdy.
We did this already.
Okay. Here are some emojis for you to enjoy. I'm not gonna. I don't know what they mean, but thank you, Graphic 30.
I think we got like the elements going in there. I don't know.
Nice. RM32, currently rebuilding in a 12-team 1QB with a core of Herbert, Javonte, Walker, Burks, J-Mo, Devontae Smith, and Pitts. Trade Walker then.
Nice brag.
I would trade Walker right now a little bit, whatever. If you're building.
Oh, yes.
Who from this group would you prioritize keeping and building? Oh, look at that. That's kind of ahead of my time. I don't have a first next year, but I have 6 picks in the second round. Anyway, yeah, I would go to your teams that are winning and offer Walker to get firsts.
You don't have your first in 23.
And that would be your target.
Man, if that's the case, I trade away Javonte, score some points, so whoever does have your first doesn't have the better pick. But make sure you trade Javonte for a younger player because you can roll into next year with all of these players and still be rebuilding. But there's no reason to make your team worse and let someone else get the benefits unless you can go to them and start with Walker and try and get your first back.
Yeah, Walker's my main trade away. Everyone else is fine to keep, especially if you're rebuilding. But while that's an incredibly smart brain type of thing to do, my typical move would just be to go approach the top 5 teams in my league and say, give me as much as you can on top of a first. Who wants it? Who wants it more? Like do a whole 3-time Monty thing in front of them if you have the ability.
This might be Walker's peak value. Not gonna lie.
Should be. And he's gonna be good for anyone you trade him to. It's not like you'll be giving them something bad. But yeah, target your first. Yeah.
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 You said it.
Mm-hmm. Those words. Good luck. Flow Source, 12-team Superflex, 1 PPR. Start 9. I nearly said 19. That would have been different.
That'd have been a lot of stars.
What is your lowest you would sell ETN for? What is the lowest you would sell Swift for?
All right, so ETN, you're not going below a first at this point for ETN, and of course, I don't mean just the pick. I mean players you would value at a first, because until the past, that week where not when they trade, like the week that they traded Robinson away, where they gave him 0 touches, even though he was on the team. Like before that week, 2 seconds probably could have gotten you ETN. Now, no, there needs to be a 1 involved, and honestly, it needs to be
top 5 running back. It's stupid, and he shouldn't be there, but that's what he is. If you want ETN, that's what he is.
We're talking mid-first, and like if I am for some unknown reason desperate to get him off my team, whatever feels to be like the first round eliminated from the playoff teams firsts, like that's the latest I want to go. Though of course there's literally no way to actually project that. The lowest you would sell for Swift, a second on top of whatever we just said for ETN. Like Swift is also a top 5 running back in the same way ETN is. Swift holds more value because he was there before. Honestly, I think
Swift is below ETN right now. That's why this question's treacherous. What would I sell for? I would sell Swift. The lowest price I would sell Swift for is higher than what I would sell ETN for. But the reality is, which is we all live in reality, that ETN has higher value right now. So Swift is a hold for me. I don't think you can put together a good trade that I would accept because I'm just going to hold Swift until I think he's what ETN is worth right now. ETN's the lowest I would sell is 2 first-round value. You're not getting 2 first-round picks, but I'm getting 1 or the trade's not happening. And I want someone I think is worth a first that other people might be underrated. Is Pickens on their team? Is J-Mo maybe? But that's the value I want. And if you don't...
Go ahead. No, sorry. I thought you were done.
So that's the difficulty. I would sell ETN for less, but I'm going to try and hold that value line because if you're trying to buy him, I'm assuming you're on the ETN is for real and a young top 5 dynasty running back. It's always this game, back and forth game you play with your league mates. Hey, trade ETN. He's not good. Then why are you trying to trade for him?
I love that. This guy's bad. Let me just take him.
Yeah. That's the treachery of looking at the question this direction. Not you, Flosaurus, but I think we're encouraged to think, what's the minimum I should be able to do? Don't. Like, if they don't want him, they might be right.
Other way around.
Like,
what's the highest you can get? That's how you should start. Start at the high, then work your way down.
If you can get a top 6, top 5, top 6, top 5, top half, 23 first for him, do that, because that's a different value calculation than a single first, and then they don't feel like they're giving up the full 2 first value of ETN. But that's where I'm holding the line at.
In October, ADP.
And if they don't want to do it, I got 11 other league mates.
Yes.
Or you have
that is
11 other league mates.
Everybody. And with ETN and Swift, you don't have to go to just competing teams. They're young enough that you can go to the middle. You can even go to the bottom and see if they want to put a running back on their team. ETN was running back 24 in October ADP, by the way, which is awesome because I'm in the mock for November where he was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, running back 5, taken at the 202. Swift was taken at the 211. So they're really not all that different in value.
And I'd probably rather hold Swift than keep ETN. I'm just weird like that.
I would rather.
TaylorMade, 12-team Superflex PPR. He is also rebuilding, or she. Taylor's bisexual name? Not a bisexual name. What's that?
Androgynous?
No, that's something that is a little bit of both. I forget the word.
Androgynous means neither.
Taylor could be both a man or a woman, or it's a unisex. No?
Unisex. There you go.
I don't know words, but hey, Taylor. Traded ETN for Deontay and Tony. I have receivers and projected the first 4 picks in the next rookie draft. Thoughts? Trade Tony away as soon as possible?
Yes. Try and move Tony for the hype because he's just going to be another deep guy that isn't targeted very often. But
this is barely a first in value. Like Deontay plus Tony is about a first in value. In ETN's top 6 first, or he's 2. You know what I mean? It's a little low for me, but I like getting Deontay for next year.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a Tony truther in your league somewhere, or he puts up one of those big games, and then
the first game in, if they just use design plays for him, and he gets like 4 for 89, and hopefully a touchdown, you move him for a second if you can.
He is one of those players. If they do design things for him, he could do stuff, man. But I just bet on the under on that.
So much fun to watch if he can ever be on the field.
Thank you, Mag. Good vibes for that. J Casp. 12-team 1QB PPR start 8. Would you trade Ken Walker, Brandon Ayuk, Dubs, and a late 23 first and a mid 23 second for Jamar Chase and a 24 first? Wow, that's a bag of stuff. I just want Chase. I'm not even thinking about that one too hard.
In the start 8, chances are Ayuk, Dubs are never touching your lineup. Like I said before, I think Walker's at his peak value. So you're pretty much a mid first and a late first and swapping seconds in a year.
I like Ayuk. Don't get me wrong, but this is just Chase easy.
Yeah, the answer is Chase, especially in the start 8.
Sean, 12-team Superflex, Carr and Pittman or Lawrence and Nico Collins? Carr and Pittman. I hold no value. And there's a second on there. 23
The answer is still Carr and Pittman. But just
Collins holds no value for me. I like Lawrence, but I don't think it's an upgrade or a downgrade on Carr realistically in fantasy. You're buying back years, but I just want the wide receiver value for that.
Like if for some reason you feel the need to get younger from Carr to Lawrence.
Yeah, that'll be the only reason.
Losing Pittman to do it, I don't think
it's a little heavy.
Worth it, especially when Collins in a second is the rest of it.
Yeah. Tyler, which side in a 16-team Superflex Dynasty League? Alec Pierce and Bateman, or DJ Moore and a 23-second?
DJ Moore in the second.
Why you got to add a second to that? That's what I'd say.
DJ Moore in the second. Like, I don't understand why you're thinking.
Because Bateman's the only one who's got a chance to increase in value here. That's second a little bit, but yeah.
What would it take right now for the season Bateman's been having for him to increase in value?
It doesn't matter. This time in August, he's a young wide receiver. A lot of people had a lot of hope for. He's going to be worth more than DJ Moore by August.
I say especially if DJ Moore continues not 20 plus points per game, but easy riding top 20 wide receiver. At best, they're equal, if not DJ Moore worth a little bit more.
Maybe equal.
Yeah.
Maybe equal will be fair, but Bateman will be young. And so that by the end of the next year, as long as Bateman is, a top 36 wide receiver again. If I'm building, I'm taking the Bateman side, but I don't want to add that second. That seems unfair. That's what I'd say. I'll drop Alec Pierce if you drop the second, but DJ Moore's probably the smart play, but I don't mind adding Bateman at that kind of thing.
Don't always have to make what's considered a smart move. Do what you like.
Exactly. See, again, I'm into the value arc. Like all off season, I spent time being the guy saying no Bateman, and now I'm the guy saying Bateman. I can only get this right so many times, guys, before everyone else figures it out. Just take advantage of it. Matthew, 10-team 1 QB trade Foreman and Ayuk for Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, 1 QB.
Doesn't matter. Hurts is one of those QBs you go trade for because he's a difference maker.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, will Foreman increase your points per game through the end of the season more than Hurts would?
I don't know, man.
Because if you're winning right now, Foreman might be a better hold than Hurts. But in general, just ask blankly. I want Hurts.
Yeah.
End of story.
If they were to have given context, I would take it into account. But since they didn't, I'm just going to say, yeah, I do that.
Yeah, it's Hurts. Just throwing it out there. Gary Russell, and we call that the Zach maneuver from now on, I've decided. I don't know why. Gary Russell, good evening, fellas. Let's talk trade deadlines. I'm in a Dynasty League. Camera's out of focus.
It's because we're talking about trade deadlines.
Yeah, that's fine. Just had our trade deadline the same day as the NFL deadline. Way too early, in my opinion. I don't even like trade deadlines.
Redraft? Because that's fine, but this better.
If you're trying to keep an active league, why are you like, oh, and by the way, you 6 teams, go away, we'll see you next year. That's what all our trade deadline says. You have nothing to do here apart from me forcing you to set a lineup so that you're not tanking. I don't like it.
Okay,
we're not the NFL. We're not playing football. You can tell by the look of me. We're clearly not playing football.
We don't need to do what the NFL is doing. There is zero benefit to having the fantasy deadline this week.
But again, what I would say, if that's what they find fun, trying to mimic the NFL, that's fine too. Whatever league format you enjoy.
Right,
if you're not enjoying it, you don't have to play in it. But
I found a new thing. It has always been play. You want to play 8 teams? That's fine. You want to play IDP? That's fine. I will never league shame you except 2 tight ends. That's the dumbest thing ever. So now it's except for 2 tight ends and having your trade deadline the same as the NFL trade deadline. That is I'm sorry. That is awful.
If you
it's
like, I know when I started, most of the leagues I were in were trying to be more like the NFL. How about we have 32 teams and the same roster? I can get how some people would find that fun. Me, I like fantasy.
You want one of those leagues. You don't want all of your leagues to be like that. No, that sounds terrible. I hate that. It's making me angry.
Yeah, my preference would be no, but whatever floats your particular boat's fine. I would say no trade deadline whatsoever. What's the point in telling anyone at any point stay active, but you're not allowed to do anything to change your team apart from add waivers, which in Dynasty is just basically useless anyway. Jared Dean, 1. Give a 23 first and McLaurin to get AJ Dillon, Mooney.
No.
Wait. Let me roll that one all the way back. 23 first and McLaurin and AJ Dillon and Mooney get Cup and Pitts. Yeah, Cup and Pitts.
Cup and Pitts very easily.
You see,
Like,
the
unless you're saying that's the
glory of
101.
23 firsts. This is the glory of 23 firsts right here. It's like, ooh, special kind of a first. Okay, have Cup and Pits. This is awesome. Yeah, Cup and Pits, easy. 10 team 1 QB league. Rebuild trade Ayuk and Foreman for. I think we did this. Guy is contending and has Mahomes. Oh, so you would be trading Hurts away.
Oh no.
Oh no, he's trading him to you because he doesn't need him because he's got Mahomes. I get it. And yeah, Hurts is better for you long term for sure in that case.
Yeah.
Sonaldo. That's the way I'm saying it. 14. 18 Superflex start 10. 6 points per passing touchdown. Tua a 23 first. And Marcus Brown for Lamar Jackson.
I would keep Tua.
Yep.
Team Superflex League, quarterbacks are not going to really be that valuable. Lamar isn't consistent enough with his ceiling for me to want to pay up for him, especially from Tua, who I like, a 23 first, which is valuable, and Hollywood, who will still do well for you next year. I think this is one of those rare. I could probably get Hurts for less, kind of a thing. Kyler Murray for the same deal, maybe a little less. Yeah, it's fine, but I'm not doing it. That's one of those trades. I'm like, fair offer, no. Honestly, just keeping to it. And the first, I can do more for my team with that first, and just moving up to Jackson. Clinton Davis, 10 teams who flake. Which side would you rather have competing for a competing team? Javonte? There are so many different ways to spell Javonte. Actually, there's only one way, because how he actually spells his name.
I know, but there are so many Javontes, and they all have slightly different spellings. And a 25 second for Daniel Jones, Curtis Samuel, and Kittle.
On a competing team, you'd rather have Daniel Jones, Curtis Samuel, and Kittle. Are you saying, like, should you make this trade? No. Well,
I think I can get better things.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, Daniel Jones is scoring a lot of points. Curtis Samuel is okay. And Kittle is Kittle.
I like Kittle. And Curtis Samuel's a top 24 wide receiver, and Daniel Jones is super flex. I get it. But like, I'm going to target different players on a different team because that's just not what I want for Javonte. I'd rather keep him. Giddy up. What are you paying on picks for Pitts these days? Pitts has yet to hit a value where, outside of me using a rookie pick on him, I've never been able to acquire Kyle Pitts, and that's the same. Like, I'm not acquiring Kyle Pitts. His value is too high for me. Justifiably, I get it, but just I will wait to see it. And
he
then
caught a touchdown. His value is back to where it used to be now.
His value has always been where it is when he does it. And so, like, even when it happens, it doesn't get any bigger. He's already there. So, I can't buy into that. Yeah.
2 firsts is not too much as long as one of them is pretty late. I don't think, if we're talking super flex, I want to give up a top 3 first. Because I think all 3, I think Bijan and whatever 2, we're going to assume right now that it's Stroud and Young, are going to be drafted in startups before Kyle Pitts is, unless Pitts goes nuts the rest of the year. So if it seems like it's going to be that early, I don't trade that first away at all. But if you're talking like to play up like a mid and a late, I would set that for Pitts.
Unless you're trying to lock some value away. Like, there's a lock safe of QB and a lock safe of top 5 tight end, but no, I'm not sending anything for Pitts right now. I haven't made a single offer because his value is too high. Like, I think he'll be rightly valued when he's doing it. But it doesn't get more. So, I'm not sending anything right now. But he should.
Quarterback, the mock draft, he went 308 in a 1 quarterback mock draft.
Yep. I just think I can do more for my team in the meantime while Kyle Pitts isn't scoring. With the value I'd use to trade for him. I mean, that's just what I'm at. Order 66, 12 teams with flex PPR, 1 tight end premium. Start 10. Pickens and Myers, or Wandell and a late first. I want Pickens. And Myers is scoring me points. Like, there's no point in me doing this trade.
Yeah, honestly, It's the question of would you rather have Pickens or late first, and then you're just throwing Wandale and Myers in a category together, even though they probably shouldn't. So to me, this is Pickens and Myers. Pickens is that guy. It's that.
I tell you what, I read a review. I read the Roto World blurb on Pickens this week, and I've never been so struck by just something that's not true. Since Odell Beckham his rookie year, he was described as just a touchdown guy. And I was like, you mean that tiny receiver who's like in his rookie year and dominating target share as a rookie? Like that, there was such a discord between what he was doing and what they wanted to frame him as. And this week I read on Roto World that George Pickens is just a downfield player who's going to get spot and target. He's just a downfield receiver. I'm like, he hasn't had less than 7 targets in how long? He has 1 week where he gets 3 downfield targets and nothing else. And like, oh yeah, that's what he is. I'm like, he's had 6, 7, 8 targets. And now he's just a 3 target guy. Like, there is such a disconnect between what Pickens is actually doing and what people want to describe. Like, I get he had 3 downfield targets last week and his ADOT slightly elevated, but he's used more diversely than that and is getting much more volume than last week would suggest. That's neither here nor there, but like, I think there's a strong discord in what Pickens is actually doing, what people think he is.
If they could just get an offensive line, like that's really what it is. Like, I don't know how good Pickett is. He does not look good, but even still, there were a couple of balls that were like so close. A couple of like hit Pickens like in the fingertips. It's like, but he has that sideline body control that I love. That made me fall in love with T. Higgins. He did not get a. It was really crazy when I stopped and thought about it. Because I was talking to Zach earlier when I was watching the game because he was always a Pickens fan, and I DM'd him. I was just like, yeah, Pickens has that body control that I love, and Zach says, well, he's also great over the middle. And I'm just like, yeah, I haven't seen him. He didn't get a pass over. The tight ends are the only people that got a pass over the middle in this entire game. So like that offense isn't right now. Pickens is very, very good.
And last week was
they are going to draft a wide receiver in the second because that's what they do. But as long as they spend the rest of their picks on offensive linemen, like, there's a chance that can be something special. Zach, Zach is a very big fan of him, and I trust Zach's evaluation.
He's got more upside than everyone we've seen in this class so far. That's where we were at Pickens, and last week was the exception. 3 downfield targets, and he catches none of them. Every other week, it's 6 targets, 7 targets, 8 targets. It's like, that's incredibly impressive for a rookie, and he has a good profile. His problem as a prospect for fantasy is his off-field stuff he had a lot of trouble with in college, and we've had none of that. Hopefully that keeps up, just in general for his life. That'd be great. So, like, yeah, I just wanted to, since you mentioned Pickens, like, I think there's a strong discord. Nothing else in this trade is worth a mid-first. So Pickens, like, that's literally a late first. That's less than a first. And Myers, he's the best points per game asset on this trade. So it's like, it's an interesting one. And I would be very excited to get the Pickens-Myers side in it.
Yeah.
You guys talk about way too much bullshit. I mean, it is a stream about fantasy football.
So in general, that's the point.
By definition. 10% trade advice, 90% podcast. That's fair. Well, to be fair, like we were open to talk about anything about Dynasty, and we've been doing this. We started end of last season. Anyway, all anyone wants to know about Dynasty is trade advice. I'm not a trade guy, but I do know value. Russ is literally a trade guy. You want me to talk production trends? Like, that's what I actually do. And
all we do is answer questions. Like, the people who ask the questions lead where the show goes.
And that's a live stream versus podcast thing. I've always thought that's the difference. And stocking up in 24 first. At this point, for the value goes. Old sport. Fun. 10 teams who flex PPR, 0 tight end premium. So is it even really a tight end premium?
So no, yeah, I could have just left that out. Okay, start 9.
Start 9 includes defense and kicker.
Sorry.
Oh, League Shane.
No, because they were starting 7. Like 7 skill players. That's rough.
That's an ESPN league, though, right? Which like more people do than any of the stuff we do. I'm in a rebuild mode and want to grab another top tier stud at wide receiver. Should I trade for Garrett Wilson, JMO for Waddle?
Yep.
Yes, I would take Waddle for that deal. Can you get it though? I'd be interested if you get that trade done, also, if you let us know. Because the thing is, like Wilson, and London are both players we think have shown enough to prove they're having a good rookie season, and they should increase towards the second half of the season. And I recently told someone on some podcast or video I was doing, like, get those offers in now, because if they are what we think they are, they should do more down the stretch. And so this might be a little window. And if you're getting this trade, then it's already gone back up. And I'd be interested to know in your league if Wilson's already held there,
Garrett Wilson is going to do better when Zach Wilson's not the starter.
Oh, yeah. Wilson, yeah. Could come up with a reason, but I just expect if they're as good as we think they are, they should do more. Like that 50 top... I can't remember. They're like in the 50s in points per game right now. And to have a good rookie season, you should do at least slightly better than that. Brian Ricks, 10-team 1QB PPR rebuilding. Trade AJ Dillon and a mid-23 second for a 24 first. Yes. Rebuilding. Yeah, I guess. That's rough, though. AJ Dillon's a good player, but he's getting volume, but Aaron Jones is better. Sorry, I was trying to outthink it, but no, it's just a 24 first.
I'm sorry, Bob sent me a trade offer that I had to reject.
Okay. Do you want to take a swing at this one? Would you think something?
10-team, 1 quarterback, people are rebuilding. Trade AJ Dillon and a mid-second for 24 first. I mean, the answer is yeah, you probably should just to get a first, but I don't think it's something you do.
He is rebuilding, and that's...
Can you just get a second for Dillon and call it a day? Like, I don't... And
I think you want the first, though.
Yeah. Can you do that and get a 23 first so you're not waiting a year?
Not by now. That's the thing. I mean, if you can do it. But
spam the rest of your league to see if you could pull that off. If not, take that.
Would you try and get... What would you try and get for Claypool?
I'm going to pull these up because some of the trades were ridiculous.
Rebuilding 12-team Superflex. Like... Generic value, you don't have to trade for picks, but we talk as if picks are money because that's something we all have in all leagues. And so it's like a second-round pick, mid-second round pick. And players I'm targeting right now, well, we've mentioned a few. I think Mooney is probably held around that value, and I'm more interested in Mooney going forward.
No, here's why you're wrong.
Okay.
With the DLF trade show, we did the trade deadline talks. Chase Claypool, a 3rd and a 4th for Treylon Burks. I would so take Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
Next, Chase Claypool for Deontay Johnson and 223 seconds.
You get a plus on that. That's interesting.
The 2 pluses are on the wrong side.
And you said that was recent, like since the trade,
since the trade deadline, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, do that. Deontay.
Yeah, like that is since Claypool got traded.
Marcus Brown, throwing it out there. Juju, if you're interested in a little points per game upside, he could do that down the stretch. The 25-year-old wide receivers, if you're interested in production, or the injured guys, if you're not, kind of a thing. But players that have some level of proven production, or that that second round value, just to. Because you probably have your own list of players that you like, you think could do better, and you can apply that, hopefully, to your own preferred list.
Unrelated to anything that we're talking about right now, Peter is mad at me because in one of our leagues, I traded away Marquise Brown for what will be the 202.
Old sport. I'm really mad at you.
I know. It's just fun to word it like that. So he's like, "Oh, the 202."
No, I really am.
That was John Mechie last year. And I'm like, okay, but in 2020, the 202 was T. Higgins or God, what the hell's his name?
It's T. Higgins and Pittman. Both of whom, by the way, I'm going to say same age, have done worse.
And then hold on.
You might get a worse player. Is still the promise
Zach just threw in our DM thread in May of 2019. The 202 could have gotten you Marquise Brown.
Not in my league. Actually, no. Actually, all three of those wouldn't have gone to the 202 in my league. Seriously, if you're looking at Superflex,
not in my league, me.
No, those are all first-round picks in Dynasty. Late first-round picks.
As the man who drafted so many of this guy, 201, 202 every single time.
Wow, your leagues suck. Superflex?
Yeah, of course.
Those quarterbacks screw everything up, don't they? Everyone can't be happy with having nice things. They got to hope the next thing's a nice thing. Old sport. 10 team Superflex PPR. Start 9. Same league. Dubs and a 23 second for Deontay. Yeah, Deontay wins most trades for me in that regard. I don't think Dubs puts up Deontay's career, and the second is definitely worth it for me. It was Chase Claypool who announced the Steelers' second round. I put this up earlier while you were talking. It's come full circle.
That's funny.
I didn't even remember that. It's a good one.
Me neither.
Eric, welcome back. Started the season hot, but the injuries, tell me about it. And my best players are going on bye early. Moved me from 2nd to 6th place out of 8. 6th out of 8. Top 4 make the playoffs. Team's healthy now. Do I stay the course or sell the parts? It'd be easier to know which of those players that got injured were the ones. Check your role play.
The answer is submit an idea for a rule change where the 4th playoff spot is to the team with the most points for, not the 4th best record. But if your team is good, you keep competing. Like maybe if you have like a Devontae Adams or like someone who is going to absolutely age out of their value, try and trade them for someone who's a little younger but still scoring points.
Here's what I was going to say, Eric. We always talk about the extremes. You're buying and you're selling. You're rebuilding and you're not. The majority of teams should operate in the middle. They should not try to place in the middle to John Bosch's rule of if you're in the middle, you're already rebuilding. But for most teams, and probably yours too, you're trying to do both at the same time. That is Dynasty. Trying to increase your points per game and add value at the same time. It's trades like this, frankly, which is why they're a little easier for us. Like, I think Deontay does both. He should be scoring more. He's probably not going to, but he's still scoring startable points. And I think he's going to do it again next year. And so that adds you future value in terms of his points per game. And his points per game right now for a hope and a dream in Dubs and a second, which despite them always turning out to be Marcus Brown, T. Higgins, and Michael Pittman, also on occasionally don't hit. In fact, to a very high degree, don't hit. So like you're always trying to do both. And based on the fact your team is good when healthy, I would say you're not on either extreme. You're trying to do both at the same time. So you're targeting those unfortunate players like Deontay Johnson, who's just on a struggling offense right now, or maybe people are underrating Pickens, but you're not trying to do one or the other. You're trying to do both most of the time. That's the unfortunate. It makes for terrible advice. It makes for why this stream isn't the most popular Dynasty stream ever, because there's a paragraph of an answer. It's not, trade for this exact player and you win, because there are no one answer. You're mostly trying to do both, and the people in your league can determine which is the best move you can do, and we're not them. So yeah, I would say you're still trying to do both. It sounds to me like your team's not bad. So I would keep trying to do both at the same time as best as I could.
I mean, you still have 5-6 weeks before the playoff starts. So I don't think you need to panic. I think if you can pull a couple of wins out, I just don't blow your team up for the sake of it. That's something I do. That's not the smart thing.
It's to the point where, because you're not an extreme, if you have Foreman, you should be shopping him. But if you have Myers, you're not selling him for his value.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Sell out Etienne or Pierce or like these younger guys who are scoring points just because they're scoring points. If your team is okay, you ride them into next year.
Yeah. Steve C, 10-team Superflex, half-point PPR, 0 tight end premium. Similar. Rebuilding. Thoughts on Cousins and Hawkinson for Lance and a 23-second, a 24-second. Lance is, I guess, a shiny piece in this.
I just want Cousins and Hawkinson. Like,
yeah.
Going for Lance.
Points are good.
Yeah. If you're rebuilding, it's too risky, I think, is what it comes down to for me.
This is like a Pitts trade. Like, Lance is a shiny thing who could get you so much more come August when healthy or when he gets back on the field. And I think Zach would probably make that case if he was here with us. Like, he'll be the top 5 QB everyone wants, maybe a boat. But yeah, Cousins is good in fantasy. I don't know about the NFL, and Hawkinson's fine. So I think I just stand pat.
Yeah.
As someone who's unsure of Lance versus however sure everyone else is this offseason, like if this was a Pitts trade, I usually acquiesce to the value's there. But with Lance, I'm still unsure. So
coming into the season, Trey Lance was around that QB 6 to 9 range, and it was crazy. He got up there. Right now, he's around QB 20, which means even with the hype, he's probably going to hit around that 10 to 12. I don't know if the trade value will be there, but the startup draft value will be there. So honestly,
Here's a question. He's rebuilding. He's got these 2 things at least. Is there something better he should target? Because he doesn't want these points. That's going to be some points, and he doesn't need it. He's rebuilding. So he's trying to get something.
Hawkinson might not be that many points. I'm all in on going and acquiring Justin Fields right now. I've been in all of my leagues. I've been trying to do it, competing or not. Well, it depends who my quarterbacks are if I'm on competing teams. And hell, man, I collect football cards and I try and do some flipping as well. So I went nuts on going after Fields cards in the past week. That team is going to keep getting better, and their defense just got a lot worse by trading away Roquan Smith. So they're gonna have to do more offense. So I think his value will keep going up. Trevor Lawrence, I still believe in that guy. If you can Cousins and Hawkinson for Tua in a second-ish, off the top of my head, that's something I would like so much more. And yeah, Tua's scoring points, but it's a 24-year-old quarterback.
But you're going to get rid of Hawkinson's points. You're basically using Hawkinson to buy back years from a player you can see they're actually doing it so far. So Tua might be a better option. If you really like the potential of Lance, you don't have to do that, though. I mean, Jalen Hurts, if the guy in your league still thinks he might be coached by the draft.
I love just being like, man, if only they had a quarter. Could listen to the trade addicts. Me, Rocky, and John Code. We're just like, man, if only AJ Brown had a quarterback who could throw the ball.
How's the Kyler Murray owner in your league doing? He's someone who's a little disappointing, but he's already in that top 5 for me with Hurts. And he's short. Maybe he hates short people. You don't know. So you're trying to buy back years, but someone that's already there instead of someone that might be. And I think would feel a little better about it. As it is, if you really believe in Lance, we've got that small sample from last year. San Francisco 49ers is a well-managed team, if nothing else. Then I wouldn't bat an eye at this trade.
Yes, if you are into Lance, go and do this. Is value-wise, it's good. But me personally, that player scares me. But if you like him, go for it.
Yeah. SU2, buddy. 1 quarterback, half-point PPR. Calvin Ridley or Dante Foreman? Really?
I mean, long-term, yeah. I have 3 signed jerseys that I haven't hung up yet. Now 2 of them are on the wrong team. I have
Ridley's just on that retired till he's not list for me.
If Keenan Allen gets traded or leaves for another team, I'm just going to cry because that man better just retire on the Chargers. Ridley's coming back.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that maybe I know. I don't know.
They had to have talked to him before this trade. The Jaguars had to have had a conversation with him.
I know. That's the nasty ass nature of the NFL. They trade people as if they're assets. They can just turn up in the locker room if you're actively playing and say, by the way, you're traded.
No, that is also fair. But if you want to score points, you take Foreman. If you don't want to score points, I think if Ridley comes back, on what I consider to be going into a very good offense, because I think they're getting better. And Kirk shouldn't be a number one wide receiver. Like, I like Kirk with another receiver on that team. And I've been yelled at so many times for not considering Zay Jones another wide receiver, but too bad. Like, so Calvin Ridley. I like the offense.
Sorry, 94 people watching at this point. I don't know what we did to deserve that, but hey, everyone. I think that's
Zach's not here, and we have more people. Just saying.
Everyone's like, Zach's not there. Everyone go tell him to go away till Zach gets back. That's probably what it is. That's probably what
we're kicking it old school before I kept missing shows and you had to bring Zach on, and then he just never left.
10-team super, thankfully. 10-team super flex. Give Christian Kirk and a mid-second for Amon-Ra.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Eric, my injuries include. Oh, that's from the previous team. St. Brown, Marcus Brown ain't coming back. Keenan Allen.
Don't. Like, if you can, I mean, I'd be fine selling Keenan Allen at this point.
He says he's got Hopkins, though.
Yeah. Like,
pretty nice.
If you could move Keenan and Hollywood somehow, because they're two very widely different ranged players, like old guy who's scoring points, young guy who you're going to have to wait for next year, and combine them into one player, then cool. Yes. Otherwise, I don't sell one of these players just for the hell of it. Like,
I would still say your team is good, despite underperforming. Like, you don't have to go to the extreme here. Yes. Like, that's a good idea, but you're trying to do both. Trying to add points per game, trying to add value at the same time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't panic. You can buy back years while also targeting players that are actually scoring points, or will, in your opinion. So yeah, I don't think you got to sell out. But Ryan Malady, I hope I said that right. When do you sell top hype running backs, JT, Brees, etc., versus holding them and making a run with them? Got caught keeping them. You haven't gotten caught. That's the first thing I would say. We try to make content interesting and sound actionable by always talking about the extremes. Always sell running backs is something I have written and videoed about. But the truth is, we don't predict injuries or like the cliff is coming for their value. And what I would say is the rule that I do, loose guideline that I do find useful for Dynasty is if you are not already making a push, you don't need running backs. Running backs are about points because they just have a bigger gauntlet to run. They can always get injured. They do get drafted above more often than wide receiver. And they do get injured at a slightly higher rate and become unavailable. And that just makes them something you're less likely to hold on your roster. And then you've got the Dynasty community who are just nuts for wide receivers and young players. So that's us. So if you've got JT and Brees going into this season, I can see why you were like, I'm going to make a run this year. You didn't make a mistake. You didn't get caught. There was no way of knowing they were going to get hurt. I would say JT was definitely at peak at a few different times before the start of the season. But if you couldn't get a good trade for an older running back like Alvin Kamara and a couple of firsts, then there was no reason you had to trade him because he should and is good. Should have been and is good. So yeah, just to first let yourself out your own punishment box here. I don't think you made too many mistakes because they're both young running backs that should score points. And as a rule, I don't think there's ever a do it now. It's more where is your team at, and make the decision there. Russ, you got anything better than that? Because I just rambled about.
Yeah, I let you go because I have sort of the opposite to say. When someone hits running back one, you sell them. Especially when Jonathan Taylor hit running back one, I was screaming to sell him because Jonathan Taylor never had the upside of the people we had at running back one before him for the past 5 years. And so people were trading running back first for Jonathan Taylor. And if that's the case, you take
and at that point you trade him.
And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this. I was not expecting this bad. But still, the answer was to sell Jonathan Taylor. What was that?
Yeah. No. You could.
Well, the answer was
to sell Jonathan
in
Taylor general.
His ceiling of running back 1 is different from the ceiling of running back 1 that we held those values to. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Zeke, a bunch of years ago. Like, he was never going to do that. Brees, you didn't get caught with anything. You can't predict injuries. Brees was
by the time he hit that,
being the running back 1 at the time. Like,
yeah.
Like, honestly, when someone hits running back 1, they've hit their ceiling. They're not going to get any higher. So trade back, go get Austin Eckler and a first or 2 on top of it. Like, that is honestly my jam, because I don't like running backs. So I will trade down, get the value and points as well. And I hate my camera right now. But in the long run, we all do, Peter's line is always right. It depends on the trades you get. If you weren't getting trades that were worthwhile to send the running back 1 and Jonathan Taylor away, then you did the right move in holding him, regardless of how it worked out. Process over results. That's, I have it on a shirt. I write it in my dream journal and everything, like, because that's what you have to believe in fantasy football, because the right shit happens a lot less than you want it to. But all you could do is the best you can with the information.
The other thing there is a slight edge still left in Dynasty in that we tend to apply these trends directly to players when they really work on a broader level in the NFL. Like, coming into this season, we should have expected older running backs to still be good. Like, I made a lot of content about that. Like, it's not like young running backs produce and old running backs stop producing. It's more like the good running backs get older, and then we have older running backs that are producing. We did. And if you didn't know about that in 2022, like, I don't want to hype myself, but there's a lot of DLF content and Dynasty creators that could have told you, like, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey were all good values this year, because some people apply the trends to players instead of that broader. The good running backs are just getting older. That's what's happening right now. JT and Brees were an exception. They're 2 of the good younger players. Same with ETM right now. There are still a few, but we're still waiting for the next cycle of running backs. And we should expect it over the next couple of years. Like, I've been told 23 is meant to be great. It might just be a Todd Gurley year where you have a couple of other great ones that you add to the list, and not 2017 when we get a whole new class.
Yeah.
But
and then 2018, we thought we were getting a whole bunch of that.
That's the only other thing I'd say. All of that is true, but you can keep in mind, like, good running backs get older and still keep being good. That is also very common. Like, you didn't have to give up on a running back just because he hit a certain age. Because if they're Alvin Kamara, they're still pretty good. If they're Christian McCaffrey, they're still pretty good when they're older.
The whole 2017
Dynasty in general, you do sell running backs when they hit that mega price, because there's just more risks and you can do more things with that value. In general, if you can get the trades. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of words on it. I hope some of it helped, Ryan. I don't know. Bob, wait, no Zach? Who's the voice of reason then? We are without safety wheels tonight, Bob. Be scared. Be very scared. Devon? Yeah, Devon's a better way of saying it, because that's actually the name. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, start 9. Trying to kickstart a rebuild. Traded Cousins and Fournette for Ramondre and a first. 24. It's fine.
He's still good there.
And what do we think about trading Ramondre, Godwin, and Mariota for Dak and a 23 first?
I like that, and
heavy,
then I trade
but
Dak.
I don't mind it at all. Yeah.
No, I honestly, getting Dak in the first for Ramondre, Godwin, and Mariota
it's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
I'm very meh on Dak. So if you can do this and then flip Dak for a young quarterback, not Tua, because he's going to be worth too much, like Trevor Lawrence or Fields in a first, even if it is 24, you go do that. But yes, I think you take this trade because you can still do more with it, because you are getting besides Godwin is very, very good and will continue to be very, very good. Ramondre and Mariota are situationally good right now. Their value is probably the highest it will be right now. So go take advantage of that, and this is absolutely doing that.
From the beginning to the end, you've moved your value needle up, and you're cascading trades. I'd say you're doing pretty well. Recovering Ridley Truther, welcome back. My peoples, one word. Calvining, friggin' Ridleying, I guess.
A lot more than one word, but woo!
A lot more than one word. Who'd you try to pivot off Pittman to a 12-team PPR, 2 tight end premium superflex contender, even if we had to add a pick on top? Thanks, gents. Also, Ridley.
I mean, I don't know why you pivot off of Pittman, even with not good quarterback Sam Ehlinger. He's still got a whole lot of targets and caught most of them.
Pittman's fine.
But if you want to go up from Pittman, you literally just go up from Pittman. Like, pull up ADP, pull up a trade calculator's values, and just... And honestly, there's probably no one I would say don't do it. If you don't like Pittman and you want to move off of him, you go for those guys around him.
That's what I was going to look at. I was like, because Pittman's fine. He's good. So is there anyone in his value range that I actually like a bit more? I was like,
oh, wow. Well, I'm still looking at October.
CD Lamb is significantly higher. Forget it. No, there's no one.
Steph Diggs. Really low. I would add a second to go get Steph Diggs if you want to win. Yeah, you're a contender. Yes. Pittman in a second for Diggs. I would do that in a heartbeat.
How about Pittman for Pickens in a first?
If you, I mean,
they're right next to each other.
Where you could end, but if you're competing, I don't think you want to do that, because then you're going to have to make more moves because you're not scoring enough points. Sending away Pittman and getting back Pickens. Oh yes, I'm down for Olave plus for Pittman if you could get it done.
So again, Ridley, you like different players and we like probably. We can tell you who we like and who we target in the range, but that's kind of the trade you try and frame. Like, you want a younger player plus something that you think they might be undervaluing for one reason or another. Yeah. Or
I
just go get that younger
player. 207 and Pittman went at the 304.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson
went at the 301. That's pretty close. Yeah. It's not impossible. Yeah. Alex, just an FYI, I think they only pulled the questions from the DLF page, not Peter's personal page. I get both. It just takes time.
Yeah, they all come into the same page.
The comments. We're just really far behind, Alex. I appreciate it, though.
Yes.
Someone's got to watch on my personal channel, please. Please. Eric, 12-team non-PPR start 7. Unless you've asked a question that hasn't turned up on the feed out. If that's happening, let me know, and then I can pull it up separately, because I will.
Yes, let's find out why, because that's crappy.
12-team non-PPR start 7. I need an elite wide receiver to go with Josh Allen, ETN, Stevenson, and lots of good but not great wide receivers. Should I trade Mark Andrews? No.
I mean, if you're trading away Mark Andrews, you're talking about the top wide receivers at this point. Clearly not Jefferson or Chase, but anyone below him you should be able to get for Mark Andrews, because Mark Andrews is one of the 2 tight ends that are difference makers. I mean, right now, Kelsey is up there, 4 points below him is Andrews, and then 6 points below Andrews is Ertz. Like,
I don't think there's anyone you can pivot to maintain your points per game, to broad brain it a little bit. If the guy in your league's got Kelsey and isn't winning, then he might give you something with Kelsey because he's older. And if he's that dumb, then do that. But outside of that trade, you don't trade Mark Andrews. Yeah. This is where ETN comes in. This is why sell running backs is usually the move. This is why I'm kind of off ETN on his value. You can downgrade to an older player running back right now and get a plus. And that maintains your points per game, and you can probably add value somewhere else. So if you take ETN and get Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, one of these older running backs is in the top 12 right now in points per game, and should keep doing it, and add a wide receiver to him, and improve at wide receiver that way, then you're adding value and actually maintaining your points per game. That's probably the direction I try and go. Unless Stevenson is overly valued in your league, I think ETN's your best path to doing it. Or the Travis Kelce owner in your league is like, everyone over the age of 25 is dead. If he's that guy, then yeah, I'll go. You're looking something up, I can tell. I feel like I'm about to get owned. It's like a sixth sense.
Nope. I just read something and then had to reply because it was funny. Sorry.
Oh, what I was saying wasn't funny. No, it wasn't. I hope that helps, Eric. Brian Ricks, 10-team 1 QB rebuilding. Give AJ Dillon
at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah. When we said the first.
Yeah.
Flosaurus, 12-team 1-point PPR, Superflex start 9, ETM for Juju and a 24 first.
I like that. I'll take Juju in
I like that.
It's a good trade. I think that's a good value for ETN.
It feels like I like it because I have a higher value on Juju, but if Russ likes it too, then it's still okay. Yeah, I'd do that. I would definitely do that. It's good to know that Russ would do.
I mean, that is not top value for ETN. It's a very realistic trade for ETN, and it's a good one.
Yeah. Nathan, 12 team, half point PPR, 1 QB, start 9. Give DJ Moore, get a 23 first. Yes.
No, not for a late one.
We disagree once again, sir.
We do. For 1 QB late first, no.
I hear you can get T. Higgins and Pittman in like the early second round, so the late first is even better.
In a super flex league. That's not a super flex league.
Stickman 87. Welcome.
No, say you're wrong out loud first.
I'm not wrong.
That was a 1 QB league. We're talking about Higgins every single time in Pittman. Every 202 you draft is going to be them in the super flex league, not in a 1 QB league.
No, in a 1 QB league, every late first is going to be them because they up a bit. Say I'm right.
Yeah,
say that
right,
checks out.
Yep.
10 team Superflex half point PPR. Probably not, by the way.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore anyway.
I have lost the plot several times. Give Godwin and a 23 first and a 24 first. Get AJ Brown, though, and Gerald Everett. Pretty much fine. Better than Pitts this year.
I want to take away one of those firsts. Like it feels like too much.
I just want AJ Brown.
I know, like AJ Brown has that week to week ceiling, but like
he's improving at tight end in the bargain.
Yeah, yeah, screw it, go for it.
You heard it. If it goes wrong, Russ is the one that said no.
Absolutely. Leave me, it's fine.
Brandon Thompson just traded Hawkinson and Tua in a 1 QB, 10 team. Stafford was my current starter since Lance was hurt. Traded Hawkinson for Tua in a 1 QB.
It's a little much, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a little much.
I like that.
It's not like egregious in any way.
You're trying to pull the Zach maneuver, but on a lower tier. I like it. Matthew, I'm in a rebuild, projected 101, 10 teams, half point PPR, Superflex. He made a trade today to improve his wide receiver position with youth. Got London and a 23 third. I really do think now's time if you want him. Gave a second and a...
Wait, what?
Got London and a third for a second and a third.
If that is what really happened, you crushed it. Oh, because he probably gave his second, which he's assuming will be the 201, and a third for what I'm assuming is going to be a later third and London, in which case, yeah, you crushed that.
It's a good question, right? What do we mean by peak value?
He's a top.
If I'm trading Walker, I'm trying to maintain value and increase my points per game, ideally, in most situations. But I mean, the no-brain dynasty answer is go across to the wide receiver position in the same value tier, and you want to move it to wide receiver, you want to move it to tight end or quarterback, because they're better value holdovers. So I know I'm going to use keep trade cut again. Where is Walker? God dang, Walker is Waddle. This is what I said.
Done. Do it.
Yeah. Walker is currently valued, according to Keep Trade Cut, like literally Waddle is 10th, Walker is 11th. That's a dynasty rankings.
Yeah.
Not even exaggerating.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Assuming the one loan in your league isn't stupid like Keep Trade Cut, though. I mean, move it to CD Lamb. I think he's undervalued, but should be in a similar tier.
Yeah. I want to put it out there. I don't think Walker is bad. Walker is a very, very good
Walker's great. That's why I would trade him. I'm not looking to ruin my league, mate.
Yeah, he's going to score points, but that Seattle offense is just really outdoing themselves. And yes, he's going to be good. Walker is good. He's not going to be great. Look how long it took Nick Chubb to be great in fantasy.
He's had repeated top 5 seasons. He's a little more volatile without the receiving floor, but Derrick Henry proves that doesn't matter too much. But it is rare to consistently put it
NFL rushing records and was the running back 3.
And was still being outproduced last year by Alvin Kamara by 60 points, who was not breaking any
Derrick
records.
Henry was doing something special last year before he got hurt because he was catching the ball. Like, he was going to break running back 1 numbers, but just literally 2 weeks ago, I think it was, or this week, Kenneth Walker had 1 catch for 1 yard on 1 target.
Yeah, and this is just another. Remember, I'm playing and talking about Dynasty fantasy football. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with if he's a good football player at a certain point. A lot of points.
Andrew A is in here. Like, his O-line is young. Rookie tackle's only going to get better. I've been watching the Seahawks for a long time. I will never have faith that their offensive line is going to actually get better. I am insane on that. But yes, they are going to get better. They have a lot of first-round picks. Hopefully they don't ruin them like they have in the past, God knows how many years. But he's very, very good in the real life. He will be a very, very good real-life running back. There's going to be games where he pulls a Nick Chubb and he rushes 12 times for 90-something yards, which in the real life is great, but fantasy, you get.
And again, we're talking about dynasty trades, not get rid of Walker. It's just if you're trading a young top 12 running back, then you want certain things. Like, he should be valued like ETN. What Russ is saying is, even within that tier, he would rather have ETN than Walker. That's not like downgrading him. That's saying you're
plus for Walker right now. So yes, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like, I have an offer of, I have a team that's middle of the pack, which I should just be not rebuilding, but like I should be getting rid of points. And frickin' J Mike offered me Breece Hall for Kenneth Walker. And I'm staring. I've been staring at it for days now. I should accept it, but I haven't been able to do it yet.
You should. And J Mike is an astonishingly good dynasty player.
The real answer is I'm going to accept it, but I'm going to try and see if I can get more out of him first. It's one of those, I didn't reject the offer, but I countered already.
I do that sometimes. I'm like, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, would you also?
Yeah, like the showing my weakness from the get-go, but it's worth a shot.
Yep. Chris, how you doing? 10-team standard scoring, that matters a lot. To the points we were just making. Superflex, he's 2-6. I have Rodgers and Brady at QB. Cook, Pollard, Edwards, and Elliott, RB. He's got Olave and London and CeeDee Lamb.
Wide receivers, though.
Yeah, if you're, what should I trade Cook for? Dalvin Cook, in your situation, you're looking for a 23 first, obviously. But like we're probably out of that. You're not getting that.
Get a 23 first. Honestly,
so you're not getting it.
Throw one of the quarterbacks. Like, I would do anything to get Rodgers.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That team. You know, trade Cook and Rodgers. I keep going back to Tua and Trevor Lawrence because I just really like, and Fields because I really like
Trevor Lawrence.
But like, if
Lance,
you can,
I would do that for Lance.
Cook for Lance.
Cook and Brady for Lance. Cook and Rodgers for Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to get a little something back just because, again, I'm scared to do it just for Lance because. And that's me. That is literally just me. If anyone who is asking these questions or listening or watching likes Lance and has faith in him, then you do those things. Me personally, I'm just like, even if you're rebuilding, I know the goal is adding value, getting youth and the upside.
You're not going to get what you need for Dalvin Cook. So it makes sense to go to the Zach maneuver. Go to quarterback, see if you can get one of the try and improve.
Especially because
another way of doing it
outside of those top 5 quarterbacks. Look at those wide receivers are so good.
Dak Prescott and to add to your Justin Fields list, outside the top 5, but it is improving the position and buying back years. Dak is kind of on that list as well. So I'd go see what those teams in your league look like. Before I just tried to trade him for value outright, I would try and improve the quarterback. Or you could go to tight end. Remember, there's only 2. But if you can get the value that's required on top of like a Deluge, he's pretty good. Pat Fairmouth. I don't mind.
I mean, those are going to be
probably not right now.
Trade with Dalvin Cook, though.
Got it. Yeah, you want a plus, but you're trying to move. You're trying to get the value that someone wouldn't trade you outright by getting a young player at one of those positions that can be kind of under. You see what I mean?
Yeah, like, but also just to put it out there, like, you should not be aiming for running backs in these trades.
Yeah.
like honestly, like you're really not that far off. Like you get some good quarterbacks and you have a competing team already, in which case you get the running backs to place in there after you put the rest of that together. So you
I
have
was just talking about the older
Edwards and then Dallas.
Good.
You can be competing next year easy with what you have on your team already. And the problem is, man, Rodgers and Brady might not be there next year. Zeke,
that's your danger.
That is one L. I will wear that on my forehead. Oh man, I was wrong on Zeke this year. But like you should be able to move Zeke and Pollard together. Like you have a lot of value at running back that people will want. So you can easily build this team in pretty quick. I'm kind of
start with quarterback. And that age for running backs is due to, and again, I'm not a Devy guy. I don't know about the 23 class, but we should see a few more. That's why I've been really interested in Javonte Williams since he got hurt. Like some of those young players are going to start to bring the age of running back in the top 12 down.
Oh yeah, man. If you could turn this into Breece Hall, go do that.
Ooh, that's a good one. But yeah, he's right. Quarterback is probably your risk spot here. So I'd try there first.
Yes.
Yeah. Sean just traded London for Ramondre. We did this one, didn't we? Ramondre.
No,
London for Ramondre and a late 23 first. That's a little bit higher, actually. You're right. Yeah, and I like that. I think now's the time to trade for London and Wilson.
Well, he traded away London to get Ramondre in a late first as a contender. So he traded away the dynasty value of London to get Ramondre's points and get a first on top. I think that's a very good.
I think that's a good. Again, a good trade should be good on both sides, to be fair.
Yeah,
and
I think that is a very good trade, and I like the move as a contender.
Flowsaurus, I have both thanks.
This was the Swift or easy
I think. I'm on the bubble of the players trying to sell off the running backs, but still competing. Yeah. I hope anything we said that I've forgotten, it was of some use. Sell off the running backs at their peak value. Yeah, and it's okay not to get peak value. Like we were just saying about a trade earlier where Russ said it was a fair trade for ETM, but it wasn't top level. I mean, your league honestly gets to decide what's top.
Oh, yeah. Each league is its own market. That is absolutely very important.
You have goals. You try and meet them as best you can. And there you go. What's the value of Dalvin Cook? He's not a first. He's not a second. Competing
if you can get a 24 first, you take it. And he's still scoring points, but still, like everyone just considers him done.
So silly, but yeah. LeBron sold ETM for Breece Hall in a second. Oof. Nice to a team trying to compete. When I'm building, yeah, I think he did that right.
Oh yeah,
he did that. Normally, you don't trade for running backs, but again, these young running backs that are injured or out this year are really interesting, and it worked. It's happened before.
Breece was 21. So he's young, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, that's a good move.
Tony already best wide receiver on the Chiefs. He is special and on KC. I mean, that's what I said about Juju, man. But no, real talk, Tony is probably one of the most unique players in the NFL in terms of his ability to do certain things.
That whole
we play fantasy, and so we tend to track things that we can commonly believe are going to lead to a lot of fantasy points on a relatively consistent basis. Tony doesn't fit that list. Doesn't mean he's not going to be great for the team, to be fair.
Especially he's on a team that has a creative coach, which is what you need with Tony. Like if Tony,
I mean, they did really kind of build Tyreek Hill. To be fair, if you want him on a team, they really did kind of teach him what they wanted him to do because he hadn't played wide receiver.
Oh, speaking of another L that I took already, my daughter covered me with stickers. I absolutely, after Tyreek's rookie year, I'm like, he's just a gadget player. Don't go by him. And oh man, very, 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 very wrong on that one. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's what Tony is, but he's on a team that will know how to use him. I am just curious how much Tony missed this year because the Giants just didn't want to play him. If he's been hurt the whole time, how could you have faith in Tony at this point that he's played like 4 games out of this first year and a half? But like,
I think there's an interesting level of upside there. It's just
God, when he's on the field, my jaw drops watching that man on the field. He has a stop and change of direction I've literally never seen before. It's beautiful to watch.
All right, calm down. We're gonna get a cease and desist from his wife at this point, but all right. Yeah. I think it's a really interesting thing to speculate on. It's just again, I tend, and yeah, I sold hard on like I drafted Tyreek Hill a lot late in drafts, the athletic profile and the what if, literally that Tony is right now. And then I sold hard the minute he did anything, and that was a mistake because it just kept going up. So yeah. Carl's 10-team Superflex PPR 2 and 6 with that team. Would you rather sell JT or Swift? It's what's the trade at that point. For a 23 first, I would rather sell Swift probably. We've seen JT do it. We keep expecting Swift to do it, kind of a thing. But I mean,
a very fair point. Yeah,
I do like Swift receiving. But I think JT will be above Swift. So probably
if you can get literally any ounce more for JT, I say do it. But if it's this price for either of them, you sell Swift.
Yeah, I rank JT above Swift, and that's probably just the fairest answer.
Yes.
Also, first time rebuilding. What are common mistakes to avoid? Good question.
I mean, do you want me to go?
I think we talk about that with every question. Yeah, you can go. You do trades.
Youth isn't everything. You want to worry more about increasing value on your team than getting younger. You also, it's not the worst thing in the world to have points on your team. You just don't want to have too many because you want to make sure your pick is going to be worse. Also, first things first, if you are rebuilding, you have to have your first. If you don't, you're just helping another team. You being bad doesn't help you if you don't have your first. You don't trade players for just picks. Picks are great in that they increase in value. There's no injuries. There's no playing bad. But the hit rate on picks is really not great. So even though this is a great year coming up, like there's going to be some misses, you know. I took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson a lot. This isn't the worst in the world, I took Devonta over Waddle almost every. Actually, no, I'm going to take away the word almost every single time. So don't just get picks. Don't just get young. It's better to just increase value and figure it out later because you can get good players. That's really the best advice is.
I think sometimes when you're rebuilding, you think you're in a separate place doing different things, but you're still making bets on what you think. What you think players are going to do later, what you think this player is not going to do later, or whatever. And so don't take yourself out of that mindset. I do think also follow John Bosch. Can help me saying that. But John Bosch, Russ here, DTC guys, they're great on value. Bob Gilchrist, who was just in this chat, they constantly. John's doing a weekly trade thread right now. Again, you might not find what he's saying something you want to do, but if you follow what other good value traders do, you can learn from them and decide the way you're going to take it. Jason Stein, I had him on the podcast a few weeks ago. He's trying to turn it into a formula, so I know, nerd. But he's trapping keep trade cut numbers and his results, so you can read what he's doing on Dynasty Nerds and see what applies to you, what you agree with, what you don't. And he literally tracks how well he does, and I think that's really interesting. And they're purely just trying to increase value. And Russ is right. That's what your focus is becoming. It's not young players. It's not old players. It's betting against the market, as it were, for what you think is going to be true 3 months, 6 months down the line instead of next week when you're much more in a redraft.
But also when you brought up Bosch, one of the great things he does at the start of every year, he projects value for next year. If you're in a rebuild, you want to pretty much stop thinking about value in the next couple of weeks. You want to start thinking about who is going to, if there's a trade deadline or if for the playoffs, can I get a player who's going to spike in value by the end of the season? Is there going to be a player I can get that's going to spike in value right as the season ends because maybe they're a free agent, maybe someone on their team is a free agent. You know, you have to just think of the points in the future of where there's a lot of trading and try and use those points as your markers on what do I think this player's value is going to be along those, you know, at those points. And if your answer is higher than now, go get that guy.
Yeah. As far as common mistakes I've made, it's betting too much on my projections. Like, value is important. And like Russ said, youth isn't everything. But often when I'm rebuilding or I'm not competing, I've made a lot of bets on younger players who haven't done much yet. And I think if you're rebuilding, they're almost more risky because they can become nothing real quick. So like Olave should be more important to you than London or Wilson or Pickens, which is probably true mass, but maybe not in your league. Honestly, those players should all be worth more to you than 23 firsts, but firsts have an added value of being more tradable to more players more often and their value increasing. So it's not an easy one-to-one. Yeah, honestly, it's partly why I hate that Brian Robinson and that 202 pick. It's like, I get it. But
You're
like this time next year, that guy definitely has Marcus Brown. You might have nothing. And if you don't have value on your roster, you can't afford to make those losses. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, I'd say it's like being a poor person, which I know a lot about. And it's like you can't afford to risk the house payment on a monthly bet. But if you're fairly well off, you can, because there's a lot of upside in doing that. So yeah,
the last thing
I would say that's a common mistake I've always made, paying for what I think is going to happen when I don't have a lot but my rookie profile or my hope for that player. Like, you don't be scared of proven or older or more known players, because you kind of can't take those risks if you're building.
And just because you're rebuilding doesn't mean you have to use your draft picks. Trading them away is absolutely fine if you're getting the right value for them. It's worth trading for players you have seen do it before, as opposed to players we've never seen before. So just because you're rebuilding, don't think you have to do it through the draft. There are people like Zach who do that because they're very good at that.
You got to know how you play.
I'm only okay at it because I listen to what Zach says, and I listen to smart people who know about, prospects and stuff like that. But I am much better at doing what I do and moving pieces around. So it's find what you're good at and stick to it.
Put it in real terms of what I was trying to say. Like 2 years ago, I would have been telling you, trade for Burks, trade for David Bell. While I would be interested in making those bets, if I'm building, I got no interest in them. Unless they have been disappointing. Listen to that signal. Yeah. I mean, again, if you can get them for thirds, sure. But I'm much more likely to trade for a Marcus Brown than I would be a couple of years ago versus a Traylon Burks, because the upside is there, but the risk, the error boundaries are bigger. Who else was I just thinking? Burks is a good example of someone I'm now less interested in if I'm building than I would have been a few years ago. And there was some... I can't. Burks is probably the best example right now. Bell, maybe. Andrew A. Walker scratching his surface. 2 rookie tackles only getting better. Your takes are questionable.
We're really far behind.
Sorry.
No, I just realized how far back this was. I never said he's bad. He's really, really good. There's too many good running backs coming in, and Walker is doing exceptional every single week.
Set the line, Andrew. We're setting a really high bar and saying it's a player like Walker is less likely to get over it more consistently, and that's not a take. I can show you the history of it. That's what's true. Like Walker, Derrick Henry broached it, like grazed the ceiling of it once. And if you think Walker's so good, Derrick Henry is like pales in comparison, then all power to you. I think Derrick Henry is pretty good. Like as a rusher, I think Nick Chubb is pretty good as a rusher. I don't think we can be comparing him to better levels of players of what he does, and they still have this. We're putting him in that category, and if that seems like we're doing him a disservice, well then dang. Because LaDainian Tomlinson is the only guy I think anyone would ever measure up as a rusher to either of them. So
I just love seeing that Austin Eckler is the running back 1 in points per game right now.
Again, like if you want to think of him as Chubb or Henry, I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
I did
That's
not
a really high bar.
Nick Chubb has 10 touchdowns already.
Nick Chubb's awesome.
That's ridiculous. Whew.
Nick Chubb is ridiculous.
He is. If that man never hurt his knees, oh my God, he would be.
I have this weird. Sorry, Ricky, I'll get to your thing, but I remember Nick Chubb being drafted and being really excited. He was more of a receiver in college, by the way. This has been a Kareem Hunt problem, not so much a Nick Chubb.
100%. Yes, they are not using it.
But I remember him, for some reason they were on the. They must have been like that year's. What's that football program they do? When they do the preseason, the training camp, and they film it. And
Hard Knocks?
Yeah, they must have been their year for it, because he was being filmed arriving at the airport and a Cleveland guy not knowing who he was while he was waiting for his bag. And something about the whole situation, and I like Nick Chubb a lot coming in, but I'm never a big running back guy. I was like, this is like that moment, like 5 years later, you cut to Nick Chubb being one of the best running backs in the NFL. Yeah. And that guy being like, that was the guy I met at the airport. That's the guy I met. It's like I saw it in that moment. And I was like, yeah, Nick Chubb's probably going to. I don't know. Sorry, I always remember that guy at the airport not knowing who Nick Chubb was. As a Cleveland fan and resident in Cleveland, seeing him at the airport, that sticks with me. I wonder what that guy's doing now. Much love. Thank you, Ricky. Needed a running back. Who do I get with Lockett and James Cook? Not much. Or should I package Lockett and Foreman for a running back?
Just ride Foreman.
I mean, Lockett and Foreman's worth more, so presumably he can get more. But I think Foreman's the ceiling of what you can get with any of those packages. Like, I think you're starting Foreman.
Like, I can't even think of anything. Like, I mean, do you have faith in Antonio Gibson? Maybe you could get Antonio Gibson. Like that level. If this year really wants to give you Miles Sanders
for this year,
you're not going to.
I know that's different than Foreman.
Like, I don't think you're getting any guy you feel like great because you have him on your team.
No, for those packages, I don't know you're going to do much better than Foreman. Kenneth Walker's running back 1 on Keep Trade Cut in Dynasty right now.
Honestly, there's a bunch of running backs the running back 1 right now, and it's just like, yeah, who else? I mean, let's be honest. The running back 1 is Bijan, and he's not drafted yet.
For a while. I don't think you're getting Josh Jacobs. I don't think you're getting Alvin Kamara for that package.
Nope.
Ramondre Stevenson, maybe, but that's not much better than Foreman already.
I mean, yeah.
For the rest of the season.
Stevenson's been doing it this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you can do that,
maybe you could Stevenson.
Yeah, Lockett and either of them for Stevenson, I think you'll feel good about your starting lineup. That's fair. That's good. Yeah. Wow, running back 8. Stevenson.
Who's that?
Stevenson is running back 8.
Really? In points per game, or?
Yeah.
We're far behind. I've got to stop forgetting that. Stickman 87, 10 teams through flex half point PPR. That thing. What is Jamar Chase's value right now? As high as value can be. There are 2 players.
He's the wide receiver 1.
That cannot be worth more. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. That's it. In Superflex, we also have Mahomes and we have Josh Allen. And the max value, I think we can quote is 3 firsts, but you can easily see more than that happen. Like this.
So here's what's really funny. I'm in a league where I have a bad team and I have Justin Jefferson. The guy who had Chase is competing. He DMs me and he's like, "What does a Chase for Jefferson swap look like?" And of course, I'm the a-hole, and I ask him for a first on a 24 first at least.
Dude.
Yeah, he's competing. I'm not. You pay for those points. What the trade?
No, I saw the trade Mad
Jester
was saying to go and do that. Go find the Chase owner, try and sell Jefferson. You decrease the points per game. You get the only other wide receiver in that tier. That makes sense.
Chase, Bailey, Zappi, because I have Max Jones on my team, and a 24 second. For Jefferson. So,
yeah, the difference is whatever you want to add. An ad on either side weights it to that side.
Jamar Chase's value did not change because he's missing 4 games.
Again, Dynasty players are stupid, but they're not stupid. Like they don't think that he's not good. Hopefully, I don't think. But good question. He is someone that you should send offers on. Chase and a 2 first, Chase and a first. CeeDee Lamb, and I said Chase. CeeDee Lamb and a first for a guy competing. I mean, that'd be an awesome trade for whoever's getting Chase, dynasty theory-wise. So, yeah, but he's still worth max value.
Yep.
Andrew A. Schuster and Harmon on end of seal.
That's supposed to be deals.
Deals. MVS starts to walk. Yeah, I hate when we start to think like this. I mean, how much changed in terms of who's getting money and who's not getting money this year? You know, I mean, they can do more deals. And that, I don't wade in the contracts much to my dynasty opinion of players. But you're right. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be good. Gone, say. But if Tony doesn't come in and have that role, they're going to bring someone else in. You know? But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. And for trade value, if you're getting a good value on the ceilings there.
I don't think Juju walks super easily, though. They want him there.
No, I think he's going to get a contract of some sort. He's doing well enough. 18% target share. He's really increased over the last 3 weeks in terms of consistency of his red zone usage.
I mean, yeah, Hardman and MVS let them go, and that's probably why they brought in Tony as well.
Yeah. They're going to give him a chance. They want him to spark, but yeah. And God, it would be awesome to see. Hurts is a system QB. Everyone's a system QB.
But he's in that system, and he's going to be in that system. So that's fine.
Price for Diggs, full PPR, pick-wise.
The answer is an early first or two others. I don't know if I have it in my soul to give up an early first for Steph Diggs, but the answer is, yeah, you should do that because he's scoring a lot of points if you want to score points.
Yeah, he's Devontae Adams. He's your team's situation dependent on what trade you'd be interested in taking or giving, unfortunately, because that's, again, dynasty players are stupid. Don't forget the first part, but they're also not stupid. And we are stupid with age. So, yeah, he's worth 2 firsts, preferably one assumed to be mid to early. And that would be a fair trade in the right situation. Joe McCarter, is 3 firsts and Javonte Williams enough for Josh Allen in a super flex? I think 3 firsts is like...
In general, I mean, yes, that should do it. I don't see anyone trading Josh Allen just for picks and a hurt running back. But value-wise, yes, that should be enough to do it.
It's difficult to trade for a quarterback without giving a quarterback. It's the unfortunate nature of, Daniel Jones having value.
If this team is rebuilding and all they have is Josh Allen, maybe there's a chance they do that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's fair. Whether you get it or not.
I mean, chances are we're not going to get to this at this point, so I want to talk about it. Lincoln was here is saying, why is everyone so high on Bijan? I think people are way too high on him. Not saying he won't be good, but people would trade their house for him. Will he be better than CMC? Maybe he'll be CMC. Like, he's that good. CMC wasn't that good. CMC wasn't CMC when he got drafted. We thought he was a glorified receiving back.
So Alvin Kamara was meant to be terrible, and to be fair, like I knew
Kamara was terrible until
but
he landed.
It's a very rare profile to hit that way. So,
like Kamara was a late second until the draft when he went to New Orleans, and all of a sudden people liked him.
Here's the thing: Devi community is sharper than it used to be, and it was always, it wasn't dull. The last time, and I love that idea that they're wrong, that you're trading him way too much. And it can happen. Here's the thing. The last 2 times I was trying to make those jokes, it turned out to be Ezekiel Elliott. And I know what he is right now. He was worth it for like 3 years. Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. I've stopped betting against the Devi market in terms of the literal number 1 running back.
Especially when you are me and
they have not
draft so much Corey Davis over those running backs.
Yeah, they have not missed on a running back one since Trent Richardson. And I'll remind you that after his rookie season, Trent Richardson was considered a hit by everyone else because he actually did it in his rookie year. So, yeah, I don't doubt them on the running back one. I just don't. And I've done no research. I might look and be like, oh, no, this guy is fucking Ramondre Stevenson. But I doubt it very much. But, yeah, I also get confused since... they haven't done anything yet. I appreciate this, but especially with the running back one, I've learned to be like, damn it.
Wait, we didn't actually answer that question though. That I read a later question.
Should I trade Connor for a second if he comes back? Yes.
Yes, but also with the 101 picks, should I pick Bijan or go QB? Whatever the value is at the time, you don't want to decide on a position. You have the 101. You either take the most valuable player or you trade back if you can. Clearly,
I mean,
but like if you have let's pretend you have the 101 and you want a quarterback, you take literally anything on top of the 102 and you trade back a spot. Because if they take Stroud, you get Young. If they take Young, you get Stroud.
There's meant to be some good quarterbacks in this class, though, right? Like, if there's an Andrew Luck in this class, then you won't have to wonder because he'll be ranked above in Superflex. He'll be ranked above Bijan.
But like right now, like the only Devi guy I talk to really is Kane Fassell at Devi_Kane. But right now he is saying Bijan over those quarterbacks in rookie drafts.
Travis May. That's the guy I listen to for. Like, I'm always talking to Travis, so I normally know roughly where he's at before my research starts. And I'm pretty sure he's there too.
So
hang in.
Regardless of what you specifically personally think of Bijan, he's going to be a first-round startup pick. That's what the value is, regardless of if we are too high on him or not. That's
the Gurley pick looks terrible right now. That's the other one. But like for 2 full years, you could literally get more than what he was worth in his rookie pick. So like they missed, but they're normally pretty good, and they're really certain on this one. Best guess. I traded CeeDee Lamb in a second for Tony today.
And a second?
It's your league, man. It's your team. I actually really like the energy of this is my guy. It's gonna happen. Dynasty, you shouldn't make too many of it.
Yeah, I remember Swags, Shane Swager would in the 2020 draft kept trading CEH for Swift. He's like, Swift's my guy. I don't think CEH is good, but I couldn't do it during the draft, so I drafted him and then I made the trade. And I'm just like, but the value. And he's like, no, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, cool. I wish I was that confident in anything in my life.
Here's the thing, though. Like, did this guy say he wouldn't do any other?
Yeah. Did you send CD for Tony? And he's like, why don't you add a second on top?
In which case, I'm like, I love the energy. Go get your guy. But same with Swift or CAH. Like, if you're offering a guy drafted across all formats, like 10 rounds above, then say CD for Tony and a first, and you get a first as well. Like, that's not disrespectful to how much you like the player.
Yeah.
That's just, hey, I'm going to be right and I get a first. But I like the energy of going getting your guy. I mean, you know what the risk is and you're making it. Devin, 12 teams, super flights, half-point PPR, start 9. Diggs, Cook, and a third for Waddle and a late first.
Oh, that's still Diggs and Cook for me.
I want Waddle on the late first.
I like points out of Diggs and Cook. Diggs is worth more than Waddle. A late first for Cook and a third, I guess, makes... Yeah, okay, it's more even than, I guess, I thought in the beginning, which leads me to go Young because I play too much Dynasty. But
Waddle's the wide receiver 5 right now, and Diggs is the wide receiver 2. So I don't see a lot of points per game. I mean, there is. Don't get me wrong. Diggs is awesome. But I don't see a lot of points per game difference. And he's 24 years old.
Yeah, you're right. That seems like probably should be Waddle in the first, especially every minute that passes, Diggs and Cook are going to go down in value. Waddle should still go up, and the first is going to go up.
Actually, there's a huge points per game difference. I mean, Diggs is points per game wide receiver 2, and Waddle's like wide receiver 9 in points per game. So
and it's
I exaggerated a little bit.
Difference, right?
Yeah. And Waddle and Chase are going to be the only 2 players I can think of that have been top 12 back-to-back years from their rookie season. Both of them are going to do it. And Chase is injured, but you can include his points per game. Like,
yeah.
We were really excited about 2014. None of them did that. We're really excited about 2021. Those are the only 2 players I can ever remember being top 12 through their first 2 years. Like, I don't know why Waddle isn't awesome. But yeah, to be fair, whoever's getting Diggs is getting more points per game, so I understand it. But Dynasty, I'm maintaining my points per game and adding a first. It makes sense to me. Pardon me. Had Higgins and CD, so worth a shot in my rebuild. Again, you can play Dynasty however you want. My general feeling is like just because I have good wide receivers doesn't make them worth less. Like what's on my team doesn't matter. And he should have been willing to add a first. But again, if you're making the trade and they won't do it and you have to do what you have to do to get your player, you're allowed to do that.
You are allowed.
Jimmy, what can I get for Fournette? Again, per Andrew, you can literally get what's available in your league. I think he's worth a second to an average Dynasty player, second plus, like top 4 second, if that's such a thing. Yeah. Which means that he's in this value tier where I'm mostly trying to get more than that by upgrading at quarterback, upgrading at tight end, so on and so forth.
Fournette in a
second is okay. It's about a second, but yeah. Costy, should I try and get Amon-Ra plus for Waddle? I'll keep Waddle, but what's
depends on if you're telling me Amon-Ra first for Waddle, we can start talking.
That's fair. Yeah, it's all what's the trade.
But it has to be it has to be a plus. Like it's not just like plus.
Yeah, it's not the difference between Chase and Jefferson. You know, it's
I go much higher.
This year's draft has no wide receivers. Please keep that in mind. I don't know, so I can't keep it in mind. What I would say is I think there's a couple. There normally is. And I know of at least one that to start the year, everyone's pants were on fire on. And I haven't checked in since, but JSN was meant to be the second coming at the wide receiver position. And I know Boutte. That's one. He's meant to be pretty good too. There's going to be a couple, whether you believe in them or not, or whether they declare or not. There's going to be someone who believes in them. Wide receiver age is... I haven't looked actually recently. Nah, it's fine. It's always the average of the top 12 is always between 26 and 27. It's just stable. How does it work in the supplemental rookie draft if you have 3 rounds but 6 picks? Do you just choose which 3 to draft? I've never done a supplemental rookie draft. Russ, you've run a lot of leagues.
Supplemental rookie draft if you have 3 rounds but 6 picks. Do you just choose which 3 to drop at the end? I got to be honest, I don't understand this question.
Oh, okay. I've never done a supplemental rookie draft, so I will kick it upstairs. Ryan might know.
At Dynasty Outhouse, DM me with more specifics of this, and I'll hopefully be able to answer your question.
There you go. Or I'll kick you upstairs to Ryan or Scott.
Oh yeah, Ryan at B23 or Scottfish24. They know everything.
Yeah, and if this is specifically you're a commissioner, I would say, is the Commission Possible podcast still going?
It's an off-season show, but yes, go.
Awesome show.
If you have never listened to the Commission Possible, you can binge the whole thing because they're all pretty evergreen and they're fantastic.
Andrew A, I agree with Roto World. I'm guessing that's on the wide receiver things.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait. I quoted
read something about Pickens. I think it was that you.
Oh right, that he's just a deep ball guy. Cool. Pat Fairmouth or Jacoby Myers, tight end premium, PPR 10.
That's Muth.
If it's Dynasty, it's Muth.
The value is there for Muth in Dynasty. Yes.
I don't want points this season. That's unfortunate. Would you trade Swift for Javonte Williams? Yes. Yeah, that's what
honestly. I mean,
I don't think you have to, but again, to what we're talking about with Andrews, if you have, yeah, I will.
I want at least a second on top of Javonte, but honestly, if it came down to it, I can't do that straight. I am worried.
No, he just couldn't bring himself to. I
was about to say, like, if it came down to it, I would, but I really can't. Like,
you've got Addison,
and I feel comfortable to say Javonte Williams will be able to come back because he really messed up his knee in week 4.
He did really mess it up.
Like J.K. Dobbins level messed up his knee, and not to say 2 people will ever deal with an injury the same way. Look what's going on with Dobbins, and he did that in August. So, like, if you're willing to wait for Javonte to gain value or score you points for 2 years? Go for it.
I would, despite that, but the first trade I send, I'm sending a plus. Like I want Javonte in a second.
At least a second.
I think that's an honestly fair offer to the Swift owner. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Josh, 14 teams who flex Waddle and Dalvin Cook or Hall and a top 5 23 first.
Waddle and Cook or Hall and a top 5. Oof.
That's tough, actually.
I take Waddle and Cook because it's what's in front of me. I know Waddle is very, very good. And if I want points, I keep Dalvin. If not, I try and move Dalvin by himself to get whatever I can. I love Breece Hall, the idea of Breece Hall going forward, and a top 5 23 first in a 14-team super flex is going to be insanely valuable, but we know Waddle. We know how good he is. There is going to be someone who wants, especially in a 14-team league, is going to want Cook's points at some point.
I would... Someone's going... In fact, a couple players going in the top 5 are going to make you regret doing this trade if you could have drafted them. I'm comfortable with the good Devy community enough to believe that. But I want Waddle. That's why I play.
Exactly what Peter said. You won't feel great about it, but I think the answer is still Waddle.
I mean... Yeah. Dylan, 12-team Superflex PPR half point 1.5 tight end premium start 10. Would you consider upgrading Kyler Watson to Mahomes if in full rebuild? Kyler and Mahomes. I mean,
well,
yeah.
Are you saying you're offering them to, or you just want to move up to Mahomes? I'm all for moving to Mahomes.
Yeah,
but
523 first, loads of wide receivers. Yeah, I would do that.
As always, depends on the price. Like, if you could do like Watson, a first, and a young wide receiver that isn't proven yet to get to Mahomes, to have Kyler and Mahomes as your quarterbacks, I love that.
I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. This isn't going to happen. But if the people in your league are mega brains like the DLF rankers in Superflex, try Josh Allen first because he's ranked under Mahomes.
Still above Allen?
Except for my ranks. I think I'm the only guy who still has Josh Allen. I was wrong on Josh Allen for a while. And I was just like, I should really just accept this.
How many years do we need him to be the QB1 by a lot of
couple
points?
More, apparently. But
when he's too
in your league, it's not going to happen. The Josh Allen owner is not like he runs too much. So it's not going to happen. But I was just throwing it out there on a chance we're going to pray. Bad online draft this year, especially compared to the 2022 draft.
That sucks for a lot of teams.
That's really going to suck for a lot of teams because the vets, experienced players, and O-line, I think is what Travis said was the main focus of the NFL for this draft. So I don't know. Hopefully, some of them develop. I don't know. Trade
very far behind.
Yes, I'm gonna hate myself by the end of this. 14 more than I do. 14 Superflex. Win now. Higgins and Geno for 2 early 23 seconds.
No.
24 first.
No. Higgins. Wait.
If he's win now, he's getting
Higgins.
Surely.
Yes, give those picks for Higgins. Oh yeah, cool. Yes. Geno too.
Geno and Higgins for this year, especially. Those are some high valued seconds right there.
Those picks to give away, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Always value wide receivers tied to good QBs. Somewhat disagree, but broadly speaking, actually, the percentages kind of work in your favor. Next year, Shakir may do better. I really like I liked that player where he was taking in rookie drafts. Again, typically, wide receivers who don't do much in their rookie seasons don't show up later unless there's a really good reason. Pittman's injury, Rondon Moore injury, and also not playing for 2 years before that. And he's showing out a little bit more. This is my concern with David Bell, to be honest. Better than Lyndon Wilson, but patience needed. Patience is a good quality to have.
I don't have
again. I don't tell you, those that have patience on too many disappointing early career productions lose more often than they win, like by like 94%, 2 to 94%. I mean, you can make individual player evaluations, and you're probably not getting anything from them in trade, so there's no point in saying, so Shakir, neither am I saying that, just as a general rule. Claypool is worth a second. Yeah.
Because it was just when I read off the trades that went down with Claypool for like Deontay plus.
People can laugh at Claypool on high demand in the league, hence a low second for him was needed in a trade.
Yes, he is much better for the NFL than he is for our fantasy teams.
Again, I mean, I forget it. I'm not going to the Rich Harbaugh thing again, but some targets are more replaceable on an NFL level. It just doesn't matter for fantasy because volume, PPR especially, it gets you points. But yeah, Claypool probably has a much more unique skill set. Although who was I talking to the other day who was saying he was terrible at contested catches, which didn't add up? I mean, he does it anyway somehow. Chicago had to use their second, not the one from Baltimore, for the linebacker. Yeah, it was a really interesting trade. I'm encouraged to see the NFL. He also loves Higgins, so there you go, Russ.
Oh,
there's two of you. It's really interesting to see the NFL just completing more trades. That's what I'm trying to say in general. Hey guys, 12 team, half point PPR, non-superflex, 4-4 record, looking at a 3-way trade, which would result. I've never completed one of those, Davis, Zay, Madison, Pierce, a 23 third for Hill, Khalil Herbert, and a 24 first. Davis? Mills?
Looking at a 3-way trade in which results in giving Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, Alexander.
Oh, Gabe Davis.
So you're giving Pierce for...
I like it.
Is that Tyreek Hill?
Well, I wasn't even sure that was Gabe Davis. I can't think of first names that would stop me liking the Hill, Khalil Herberts, and the first.
If there's a different Hill I'm thinking of, the answer is so easily yes, do that.
Yeah,
Hill in the first. Yeah.
Hey, Rick. Shattered ankle. Lanvey. Is this a rookie?
Lance.
I don't know.
Lance.
Oh, yeah. Fields way better than Lance on a worse team. I can't make too many football ability decisions. They have access to the same kind of ROI when healthy. 12 teams to flex rebuild. What kind of receivers would you target with? We went through this, right? Like I was like, CeeDee Lamb is probably valued lower, so you can get a plus. But he's straight up for Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Or just hold. If you're scoring points, if you're trying to win, Kenneth Walker's fine. Like you play him. It's not a matter of holding if you're going to use him for his points, unless you can get a trade like an Alvin Kamara plus something where you're trying to do both value and points, which is always kind of the dynasty move. Josh Jacobs had a disappointing season.
Well, he's saying
disappointing week last week. Oh yeah, he did. Sorry, forget.
So yeah, you're just looking for young wide receivers and start at wide receiver 3 and go down.
Mm-hmm. PPR 1 QB Terry plus Paris Campbell. He's got value again. Or Deontay and Gainwell.
Terry and Paris. I want Terry and Paris. They're scoring points, man.
Terry isn't scoring
They're scoring points.
Terry isn't scoring points.
He's double digits the past 12 What's Deontay doing right now?
He's getting a lot of volume, man.
So it's Najee. How's that working?
The only person in this trade that has top 12 upside is Deontay, and he equals anyone's points right now. So I just take Deontay. But I think what we're getting from this is it's fair. Take your favorite player.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, value-wise, it's a fair trade, but I would take the points of Terry and Paris.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, that's why I was a little cautious on him coming into this year. I just, especially at quarterback, I need to see it because I can't find anything that gives me a greater degree of certainty that a player is going to be good. There are some exceptions. Patrick Mahomes stood out like a sore thumb. So did Andrew Luck, but everyone kind of knew that Andrew Luck won. But yeah, agree on Fields. Wow, we get some right. Dynasty is about future. Love Ridley. It's about future and now, but true. I'm enjoying the content regardless of volume. Is my volume low or too loud? Either way, appreciate it, Andrew. Thanks very much. In Dynasty, only 10% of the time I give a second contract. Do you play mostly contract leagues then? Those are tricky. With wide receivers, 28 is where I look to trade. Yeah, again, it's all what's the trade. Like wide receiver, if you want the best, highest points per game upside of any kind of fantasy team, it's wide receivers between the ages of 26 and 32, and running backs between the ages of 20, if there's anyone at that age, and 24. Like, so older wide receivers, while they might be trades, their value tends to jump off a cliff in Dynasty in general, and so it's harder to trade them anyway. And so I normally take the points, but if you can get good trades, you get good trades.
We're getting too ahead of ourselves in Dynasty. A wide receiver hits 27 and his value is dying already. It's ridiculous.
It's 25. It's Pittman, as we mentioned tonight. It's Marcus Brown. Those 25-year-olds is where we start to get sketchy. They're not the young guys. They're not the old guys, but they're actually entering their most productive part of their career. But yeah. Again, it's all about what the value is. So if you get good trades, you get good trades.
Yes, Ramondre is doing very well, but when was the last time we saw this out of a Patriots running back? Like it's not what they do.
There's no one else in the backfield right now. But yeah, again, there's a difference between wanting points right now and not, frankly, and that's where he's at.
Ramondre's getting a lot of points right now. Yeah, you go for Ramondre right now, but I don't think it's a future play.
No. Inbox trade, and we're talking fast and seem to be skipping a little bit because I have let us get too far behind. By the way,
very far
Russ
behind.
usually leaves by now. He's only sticking through because Zach isn't here.
I am falling asleep as we go.
I don't like to do it all by myself, so that's why I'm trying to force it through here. Inbox trade, 2 QP, Dynasty 6-point touchdowns, PPR. Give Tua, get 24 first, 25 first, no. Jimmy and Ridley.
No,
just keep Ridley.
Just keep Tua. No, if one of them was a 23, we would be able to start to talk about 24 and 25 now.
Any questions we don't get to, because it might happen tonight with that, Zach, and the late time, feel free to drop them on the video on YouTube or Twitch. I guess you can do that, and I will go back through them and try to offer answers to them if we don't get to them tonight. I have no life. It's fine. Russ does. 10 team Superflex start 9. 2 and 6 out of the players. Hawk and Dalvin Cook for ETN. Yeah, ETN there.
I mean, that feels like giving up a lot, but yeah, just go do it anyway.
He also has Kelsey and Pitts, which is nice. It's nice. London and Pitts, same guy, each eating off each other's plate.
They're only the same guy because the team doesn't want to use either of them right now for some reason.
Yeah, they're kind of just, they're on a bad, well, that's the wrong way of saying it, but yeah, I'll just take it. Rebuilding, other quarterbacks are Mahomes and Watson.
He asked a question before. I just don't remember what it was.
That's a Tua trade.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't even matter what your other teams are. It doesn't matter. You still just, that's not good for Tua.
Walker is special.
Yes, Walker is a very, very, very good runner of the football.
Again, I don't think we've mentioned him with any running back I wouldn't be happy to call a very special talent. Like, again, Chubb, Emery, very special talents. You think he's more special than them? I would disagree. But that's just because I like those two guys.
He's very good, yeah.
What's a fair offer for JT if I want to trade for him?
Man, right now, if you could throw like a first and a second, see how it goes. Like, if you want JT, my answer is the same as what Peter just said. I don't want that. But if you want him,
if someone's tilting on the, I mean, again, it's what's the offer. If someone's willing to get him up for a first and a second, yeah. I don't think they would be. Right?
But it's worth a shot. You never know.
Worth a shot. His O-line is young. Rookie tackles only get better. I actually don't know the trends of the
you hope they're getting better.
Positions, so
I mean, it's not like Tom Cable bad where they have basketball players playing tackle, but it's I don't know, man.
I have done some O-line research, and I would say that what struck me is how much O-line seem to grow to get. It's not about career year or career development. O-lines can be undrafted. They can be an 8th-year guy playing with a 2nd-year line. It's more about the time they've played together and how well that O-line happens to mesh. And then health. Like, if they stay healthy, it continues to be dominant year after year. So, yeah, it's really interesting Anyway, 10-team 2QB league. I gave up CMC and Mixon for Hall, Njoku, and a 23 late first and a 24 second. Fair value? Mixon and Hall, Njoku.
It's a little light, but it's fine. Like, I'd rather have Hall over Mixon, so that little leftover value, Njoku, a late first and a 24 second for CMC, I mean, it's not bad.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. And I would be happy on both sides of that, depending on my team situation. So I think it's fair. Kyler for Fields and Pickens.
The value.
It depends how what you feel of Fields. I
sent an offer of Kyler for Fields and ETN, and I got looked at weird.
You got looked at weird. Again, I'm happy to pay the wait and see tax when it comes to quarterbacks. I'm really hoping what's happening recently is the truth, because I really hope for Justin Fields. Like, he was really disrespected through the draft process. I'm hoping it comes true. So yeah, sure. I think this is fair value. Me being me in Dynasty, I'm like, I just keep Kyler.
I think Kyler should get you more, but I love the direction. I love those two players. We've been talking about them all night.
They are interesting. From Vancouver, watch Hawks since '86. You take it so wrong on Walker. Untouchable till his second contract up. I think I've taken it wrong. I think I understand what you're putting down, Andrew. I don't disagree. It's just I'm playing Dynasty, not evaluating. Like, I have no place on the front offense. I don't. It's not my place.
Yeah, like, we're not meaning to disrespect Walker whatsoever. He's very, very good. But
this is somewhat true, actually, to the point that O-line and running back ranks actually have an interesting counterfactual to them. Like, he can be on a bad team and have one of the best scoring running backs, but they're both very dependent on each other. That's what I'm going to tell you. Like, running backs can make up O-line deficiencies as much as the other way around can happen.
Carroll, I mean, that's why we were going to be excited for any running back that went to the Seahawks, but it happened to be Walker. So
keep Pollard. His yards per carry is insane. Yards per carry is
not great.
Less for paying too much attention to it from a statistical standpoint. But yeah, Pollard, everything checks out that Pollard is running really well. Can already tell you can't value him like Walker, even if he's that talented, because Dynasty ain't gonna play that game. Running backs take this long to overcome a
25 already.
The Cowboys are gonna cowboy. They're gonna do something that'll frustrate you with it. But he's playing really well this year.
Zeke does look well,
especially in terms of his volume and role. I don't think he's doing bad. I just think Pollard's doing really well. Cook's last good year.
I mean, as elite, maybe he'll still be good.
If he's got, again, all the running backs still remain talented, but you're right. We're due for a young wave of running backs. We are, but not this year, next year. I asked earlier about what I could get for Dalvin Cook. My wide receivers are Lave, London, CD, and Wandell. I have Hawk, Pitts, and Kelsey at tight end. I think I remember this, but I can do it again.
Ready for bed. No, I mean, our answers aren't going to change based on who you have, unless we told you to go after these exact players. But
what we said with Dalvin Cook is his value is at that nasty point where you can't trade him. I mean, he's worth a second, but worth more than a second. So what we said is push that value into the quarterback situation. Because this guy with Rodgers and Brady.
Yeah. Like, add him to the quarterbacks and should go for a young quarterback. Yeah.
Flow, I thought that sticker was part of the sweater logo.
Yeah, that was me.
We just got to the sticker moment.
We are like an hour and 10 minutes behind. Oh no, we're an hour and 40 minutes behind. We're bad.
I'm trying to skip over some reactions here.
Yep, keep going.
I don't understand what that means.
Don't worry about it. It's a drug.
Gavin's got one. 12 teams to flex, start 10. A half-point PPR. Give 2 late seconds in 23 for with Kirk and Gallup. Got Jacobs, Rashad White. That's an interesting one. And 2 late 23 thirds. I actually love that trade.
I would rather have the seconds in Kirk and Gallup. I mean, Jacobs is going to get you points, but the rest
that's where I was leaning. Yeah,
Kirk isn't not getting points.
It seemed to me like a situation trade, but the other side still got a little draft capital on. I kind of like that.
I would rather keep Kirk and throw a second and change for a Miles Sanders.
Why do you want running back 2 points? We're not getting into it. Lincoln was here. Hey, Lincoln. What is Greg Lutz worth in 1.5 tight end premium? No tight end is worth very much until they're worth way too much, unless you're Kyle Pitts.
5 points per reception. Holy crap.
Ryan McDowell recently said, and so I get to lean into liking Deluch, or Dulcich. Sorry. He's a top 5 dynasty tight end, so especially with that premium, he should be worth a first, right?
He's been doing really well ever since he got healthy and came back, and in a system and with a quarterback that don't usually use tight ends. So I think he might be it.
We have yet to see him use it in the red zone, by the way. He's only got one target inside the 10-yard line.
That's a little weird. Saying. But still, he's catching balls.
He could ramp up. It's only been 3 weeks. That's the thing. Tight ends usually have at least 8 to 11% target share in that range, and the team likes to throw it in the red zone too. I can start up to 3 tight. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
first premium. You start. Yeah, you start. Keep Dulcich and start.
I think it's a start. Why is everyone so high on Bajon? Okay, this is the one you were responding.
I didn't think we would get to it because I figured I'd be asleep by now.
12 team, 1 QB, start 7. If you need to go, you can.
I'm getting pretty close to it.
Give Javonte and Sanders, get Derrick Henry or Kamara.
No.
On the Javonte side. Again, if you're trying to win, either of those players is good for that. Honestly, it's pick your poison. I always take the receiver because I'm a dynasty nerd. And I like receiving, but either is a great player who's going to get you points.
I would choose Henry over Kamara because Kamara...
He's so much fun, to be fair.
But man, that feels like a lot. If it only starts 7, I don't care about Sanders. Yeah, no, that's fine. If I want to score points, I'll give up that to go get Derrick Henry.
Foreman and a 23 first for Jameson. No, Jameson Williams should be worth 1. I mean, I don't mind giving Foreman. Depends when their first is. If that's a late first, maybe.
I'd still hold on to the first.
Yeah, probably. Hey, thanks, guys, for the input. He counted with the 24 first and my own 24 second for the 2.1. This was their 111 and Dylan. I forget what the other side was. I'm glad you got some use out of it, though, man. Thanks, Brian. Gabe Davis and Tyreek Hill. We guessed them right. Russ guessed them right.
Nice.
Alan, outhouse. I don't know why I tried. PPR. Hawkinson, Tony for Wandell, and Alec Knox. Alec Knox? Alec and Knox, maybe?
Alec Pierce and Dawson Knox, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Hawk and Tony.
I think it's close. But yeah, Hawkinson's sure a thing in there. So why not take the upside of Tony?
Exactly.
What should I offer to have Ken Walker? Oh, yeah, we're meant to call him Ken, by the way. I think I misnamed him.
I was told that, so he is Ken Walker.
That's the one he prefers. I'm trying to acquire Waddle.
That
should be an even trade. I honestly try it straight up.
Straight up, if they were, if they want more,
again,
I'd be willing to add a second.
Like, we're going at it with Andrew, and we're going to go out with you too. Like, we should value Ken and not undervalue him. Like, we got to toe that line. Garrett Harrison, first year playing Dynasty. Oh, I hope you're enjoying it, man. And welcome in. How do you find us in your first year? We're deep. You were a grinder, my man. Officially, you found us in your first year. You were working hard. 12 team, 1 QB. I'm currently 13-3. Nice. Matchup and median each week. I think people that convert from Dynasty should have a lot of from redraft should have a lot of success. Like, too many Dynasty players play it more long term.
Yes, you worry too much about you stuff like that. Yeah.
First place and likely have the 112. What would be my 23 first be worth? A lot of things. And if you're winning, there's not a lot of points you need. So I would try and convert it into someone else's 24 first.
What you do is
somehow
cross your fingers you have no trade deadline and you waiting for one of your players to get hurt, and that's when you use your 23 first.
You could play it like that. Yeah, there's nothing you should definitely trade it for, like first year in
But
Dynasty. Is this a thing? I mean, but you could find some interesting deals, but also that's a useful chip if you do suffer an injury. So.
I mean, right now,
And players do fall. I mean, it's meant to be a thick rookie draft. Like even in 2021, there were some people scraping up good value at the end of the first round. Sometimes tight ends fall there, quarterbacks fall there, especially if it's one QB. You can still find advantages with that first, so you don't have to give it up.
yeah, I mean, like wide receiver wise, like if you have someone who still only values Olave as one first, it's worth a shot because he's still young and very good. We were talking about Pickens. I'm not really into giving a first for him just yet, even though I do have an offer sitting for Bob Gilchrist of a late first for Pickens and a third, because what he
Pickens
asked before was ridiculous. But yeah, like don't just give it away to give it away is what it comes down to. Wait until you need to. If you have a trade deadline and you want to worry about it, then you still hopefully have a couple of weeks.
And welcome in, man. I'm glad you found Dynasty. Hope you're enjoying it. Brooks got offered Keenan and a 23 first for Dameon Pierce.
I take it.
That's a first for Pierce. Oh God, I hate the Keenan Allen arc. I like Keenan Allen.
I love Keenan.
We're more courting than fully involved. It's really late for me. I think, yeah, if you need points, that's a fair offer to get Dameon Pierce, and Dameon Pierce is going to put up some points.
Pierce is worth a first. I am scared of his longevity, but he's young at scoring points,
especially in value.
Ride with it.
If you get a first out of Pierce, especially mid to late, it's rough,
if that
man.
Stays mid, like that's going to be great.
Here's the thing, Pierce's points are greasing the trades. Rightly or wrongly, I do think Dynasty is going to not like him this August, because he's lower drafted and it was a later after
He's going to get replaced.
That's going to be what they say. So you're probably getting the best offer you can in your league. But again, if you don't like it, try everyone else. But if that's what your league's, it's probably going to drop throughout the off season. So yeah. Gavin, it was situational. Thanks, guys. Still got Olave, Hopkins, Judy, Ayuk, Elijah Moore. Sad face. Very sad face. Hollywood on IR. Even sadder face.
A lot of people have a lot of very good wide receiver cores who watch the show.
2022 hates young players. This season hates young players. Hates them. Hates them outright. Pickens and Devontae, value check. Me and Russ disagree a little bit on Devontae, apparently. And Pickens. I think Pickens is worth a mid to late first at this point.
Yeah, he's worth a late.
And Dante is about the same. Well,
yeah, probably.
Two very different situations. One's a 25-year-old who I think is going to keep having top 24 upside. And I really like the fact he got in the top 12 that once. Think like Landry mid-career.
Just wish the offense didn't look so bad right now. Which is why I'll go towards the younger guy. That's fair.
If it was straight up, I'd take the Pickens side in a vacuum. Pickens, like I say, I think it's going to pick up throughout the next few weeks. But, you know, yeah, I think that's about fair. Saquon on Miles and a late 23 for Saquon. No one's getting Ken Walker. No one's getting Saquon discounted on me just because I'm a nerd. They are those premium chips. If you're trying to play, you need to come to play. I know. Sounded funny.
Sounded good.
Bud, what do you think about giving up Brees and Javonte for a 25 first? I think
slow down. No. Read that again.
Brees for Javonte and a 25 first.
You said Brees and Javonte.
Brees for Javonte and a 25 first.
I would stick with Brees.
Yeah, 25 is just too far away, man. Not even I'm that much of a degenerate. Have you a receiver group? Yeah, I like receivers are interesting too.
See, a lot of people with really good wide receivers.
There's like so many. Running backs: Walker, Montgomery, Herbert, Dillon, Madison, and Jeff Wilson. Oh, pretty much every handcuff and Walker. That's fair. Am I contending?
And
third place, second points, first in max points 4.
Oh wow, nice.
Good job. Keenan ain't playing this year. It really feels like he's not. What was the quote? I'm not playing till I'm 100% healthy. I felt good last week, but not 100%. Yeah.
No football players 100% healthy.
You can't possibly be 100% healthy if you're actively playing in the F. Surely. You might feel it. Injections and such. I'm on the edge of getting someone's entire 24 draft. He's pulling a J Mike Invitational for the 24 class.
Go for it. Oh, for Peter. No, he's
Pierce.
getting
He's talking about the first, the second, the third.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Again, Pierce is going to be worth it for the points, I think, down the stretch. And then Dynasty is going to be like, yeah, but he's going to be replaced. He's going to be replaced all off season. True or not, it's going to be harder to get a trade for him later. In general, in most leagues, you know your league best. Give 2 late 23 first, get Waddle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would. Mm-hmm. But again, when we get to the draft, it's going to be such a hype class. It already is. You might find even better deals or players you like even more. But Waddle's kind of one of the ones I already like that much. So I'm good with that. But
yep.
Korski, 12 teams, start 10, failed contender. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I got a couple of those. My team is Herbert, Pierce, Pollard.
Rob.
I mean, you're looking better. But no, I just mean he's getting better after Pollard's week last week. And Pierce, his team's improving. And wide receivers, Higgins, Metcalf. I mean, Metcalf, man, who can't be injured, it turns out. Pickens is an upside, but it's just a hole. Still holding on to Terrence Marshall, I see. Andrews, Schultz, Tonyan. Projected the 104 this year. Your team's looking better over the last few weeks. That's my first thing I noticed. Should I make moves or for picks or keep getting younger assets? Again, in most cases, you're trying to do value and points with every move you make. Honestly, with your team, the way it's improving, Pollard, Pierce, Metcalf actually being healthy.
I can't believe he played well this week.
Played really well. I push. I mean, winning is a rarer opportunity than you think. You've got Pierce, again, he's going to be undervalued this season. Pollard's more of this year bet. Like, you've got these two running backs who are going to do things for you there now. You're probably not going to get great trades for them. I'd be interested in trying to win. You've already got Andrews this year. I think you should try and win. Don't trade him just for value at all. Trying to improve your points per game. Tim Shady, we'd keep nearly getting to the end, and then everyone's like, we'd still like you. Like, stop liking us. Contender Superflex. If you had Lamar, Dak, and Deshaun, would you trade away Dak for Geno plus something really good?
That'd be a lot of plus. But like Lamar, Dak, Deshaun, would you?
Dak for Geno?
No. Well,
no, I'd probably rather trade away Deshaun.
Yep.
But you're probably going to need to see the points before anyone's willing to do it.
Week 11, it comes back, week 12, right? Week 11, you sell Deshaun and ride Lamar and Dak and hopefully get top 5 quarterback trade value out of Deshaun.
Lamar well valued, Dak undervalued, Deshaun is just in this holding pattern. Wait till he comes back, and then that's probably the guy I'd be interested in trading. What's to his value in a 1 QB league?
Second. Late first.
Late first, early second. Would you give a late first for Javonte? Yes.
Nope.
I started with Najee.
That's rough.
So that's why, Najee's been really rough, to be fair. Yeah. What kind of value do you think Brees has at the moment in terms of numbers of firsts? 2+? 2+?
You do not sell him quick. No, Brees, clean ACL tear, young guy.
Yeah, he can't do much to change. And he was really coming on, man. Like, you don't have to sell him. You're looking for two plus first.
Two first at least. Like, he was the RB2 before he got hurt. Like,
he's doing really well. And he should have been. He was a good rookie.
And he was doing better and better because that team was also realizing that Zach Wilson isn't good. So they need to pass the ball. I mean, run the ball. But when they did pass it, they kind of just passed it to Brees Hall a lot. But then Michael Carter scored the touchdowns.
Kalen, contender Superflex, trade T. Higgins plus the 106 to the 108 for Waddle.
No. I'm not dropping a full round for Higgins and Waddle.
Okay. I don't think you have to. It's close enough. But I prefer Waddle, and I don't mind losing that.
1-to-1, yes, I prefer Waddle, but man, a full round, I don't think I do it.
In a rookie draft, in a full round isn't.
In this draft, yeah, I don't think I do it.
I'm not so confident every pick I make is great, but it's fine. You're probably right in vain. Bud, saw someone's. Well, you are right in vain. Saw someone's Dynasty podcasters. Saw some Dynasty podcasters say that Brees this week for Pickens, and starting to think if I should do that.
No,
that's too much for Pickens.
Why?
Pickens could be real special. Brees Hall isn't at the running back. Well, he's good at the running back position already. That's
I'm
nice.
going to be a company man right now. Subscribe to dynastyleaguefootball.com. You could use the DLF trade finder. Go look at the trades that are happening for Brees Hall right now. That is not good. Like your league's
your league. What I would say is, if you want Pickens, I can't blame you. I think he can get a better deal.
A first on top of him. Like that's how far apart that is. That is not.
To Andrew's point about Tony, if you do this and Pickens hits his ceiling, you're feeling like a pretty smart guy. But again, you don't do it if you don't have to. And if you
Pickens
want
has to be
do
a
it, it's your team.
5'6" wide receiver. If you're a clean ACL tears these days are like nothing, right? Like if we're assuming Brees Hall comes back to 98% of what he was, which there's no reason he can't, Pickens has to be real damn good for that to make up for it. Like there's no reason on an ACL tear to be, run out of a 21-year-old running back.
Yeah.
And that's me. I hate running backs.
Send some offers that are not quite that. And then you'll have to feel like your league mate. Better buy for next Calvin Ridley or Elijah Moore.
There's no reason for anything to change for Elijah Moore. There's Calvin Ridley's going to play. I wish Elijah Moore moved, but he didn't.
Is Calvin Ridley? What makes you say that? Just it makes sense, or am I missing some news?
Well, he got traded, and he's suspended. He won't be suspended when the next year starts. He'll be out of Atlanta,
I guess. Elijah Moore, I think he's good. But no,
Elijah Moore is very, very good, except he's stuck in a team that doesn't want to give him the ball and can't pass well anyway.
But he sounds so sassy in the interviews, and you get to feel like you're part of it.
I do, yeah. I would know him get the ball. Loved it.
I would know. I get a ball. Lincoln, I too excited on Rondell Moore. It's been great to see him come back after that rookie. Again, it's nice to have another proof that the exception can be injured. Because there's been very few of them in history. Now we've got Pittman. Now we've got Moore. Awesome.
Hey,
maybe Paris Campbell. And I didn't like that guy.
Mike Williams.
That's a fantasy prospect.
Mike Williams.
Yeah, that's somewhat fair. Yeah, somewhat fair. I'm going to argue with it this late. Appreciate the wisdom, love. Stopping by. I really appreciate you stopping by. Man.
Yes, thanks. Very much so.
Armand Paul, would you trade Swift for AJ Brown in a second?
Yes.
I want AJ Brown.
I would do Swift for AJ Brown. Second's awesome.
As a rebuilder, would you trade Dante Foreman for a third?
No.
Oh, Deontay Foreman for a third.
No. It's not worth it. Like, there's got to be something better you could do. Foreman and something for something. Like, there's got to be a better way to do it. I traded right as I go out of focus. I was the competing side of it, but I had a very early second. I traded my early second for Foreman and a late second. So the rebuilder got in a very early second out of it. Like, so try and find things to add to Foreman to get you something better, because a third is not going to get you anywhere in a rebuild.
I was offered a third last week for like Tim Patrick, who is on all of my rosters. And I'd said no. It's perfectly valid, and I probably should have taken it, but you got to give people things people want for things that they have. Just basic trade rules. And while it's fair, and I probably should have done it, like I like Tim Patrick, so you just hold it. So some players can be worth a third, and they're not gonna do that. So you got to kind of find a way of making a trade where you're getting that value, for that player, but they're actually getting something they want. If you have Deontay Foreman, you can accept a third. But Russ is right. I mean, who wants a third? Doesn't do much, but you can. It's fine. It's fair. That's where the value's at. Just some thoughts. Should I try and send my 104 projected for Brian Robinson and Brian Robinson for Brees? You don't have to buy running back.
Just because of what this draft class is, I don't think you have to, and you definitely don't have to do it
Not
now.
this year.
Like, I mean,
if you're the 104, you're not looking for points. Brees is fine at that value, to be honest, but I think you can pick what you want with the 104 by the time the draft rolls around. So ask yourself, is that the best you can do?
I do love acquiring Brees, though. So, but yeah, like you're also making your team worse by taking on no more.
That's
points.
True.
It's too early to really project the exact spot. You know your pick is going to be early, in which case, with the running backs that are coming in and Brees Hall being hurt this whole year, there's a chance this draft comes around and you're getting Brees and a decent plus for that 104.
That's fine. I think it's, if you just love Brees, you're like, I want a top 5 running back for a single first, then I think it's absolutely fair. It's normally not the way I go. Also, thoughts on Justin Fields. Russ loves him. Me, I just don't have a strong reason to tell you quarterbacks are good or bad. The little that I do know says Fields should have been good, and I'm really hopeful the last few weeks are true.
I just found more stickers. I went to scratch my back and I found another freaking sticker.
What are good running backs to buy on that's the thing. This is a weird year where there are running backs to buy low on for a non-contender. For a contending team, you're looking at the older guys and the guys who are going to be devalued. So Pierce, like we've suggested a few times, people trade them away for value. That's because they have more value to a contender. Pierce is a good one. And Walker's like you're sending premium assets to get him at this point, so he's not. Same with Etienne. So it's Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Damian Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, moving down the value here. Those are the best guys to go and get if you want points at the running back position, I think. Russ has any to add. Mike Williams and a late 23 first for Pittman and Sanders.
Pittman and Sanders.
Pittman and Sanders. Is the difference between CD and T worth dropping down 4 spots in the first round? I'm assuming of a rookie draft. Thank you, Jaden.
Oh, so like CD and the 105 for T and the 109?
Yeah, kind of a thing.
Yes. I would take T and the higher pick.
I'd take CD Lamb. So, yeah. It's even. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's fine. Either way.
Pick your poison. Yeah. I think most people overvalue and overhype picks.
Yes.
Lincoln, I don't disagree. Here's the thing. I've seen a lot lately of most people do. And if we hear something a lot, and I hear this a lot, then the majority are the ones who say this, not the other thing. If you know what I mean? And I don't know where it's at right now. I know most content that is popular, most content that most people are listening to and play fantasy is redraft centered. It's on ESPN and CBS, which makes me think the majority of fantasy players don't overvalue rookies and future picks. They want the players and they want points per game. But
that's redraft. We're talking Dynasty.
You say that, but
I'm not saying every Dynasty player has a DLF and DTC subscription.
No, we're a really small part of a really small community, and I think more players are wondering how can I get a running back 2 for next week than it's time to buy, sell because my team isn't winning. And if my running back 2 is essential to me next week, then I'm not competitive this year. So yeah, I don't disagree, Lincoln. It's just, I actually don't know where most players are right now in Dynasty. It's hard to get an exact fix.
People in your league have Twitter.
We all live in bubbles, you know? Yes. That's the answer. If you're on Twitter, this world over here that I've got open right now, because it's always open, there, yes. Very much so. Would you trade a late 23 first for Kyler Murray?
Yep. Even in 1 QB, I would do it.
Case in point. Yeah. Is Traylon going to be a face planter? I don't know. We were just talking about injuries, but he was disappointed. I don't know. He's a hold right now.
He was actually in, like, the
He's going to measure as one.
The grasping at straws stats, like yards per route run and all of those, like he was doing really well in those things because there's very little volume in Tennessee. So he was doing well in some of those very obscure, I need to think good things stats. But
he's going to measure as a face planter. I liked his profile well enough, like Rondon Moore, that I'm willing to plant my face. That's kind of where his value is.
I have more faith in Treylon than I did in Rager.
Yeah. I like Treylon more than... Wow. I really like Rager. We fully own that. I really like Rager.
But at this point in Rager's rookie year, it was... Okay, Rager isn't that one.
Rager.
That ceiling is gone.
We knew
Treylon can come back and still be what we thought Treylon Burks was.
Burks has done more than Rager did this point in their rookie season. That's a good point. He's a strong hold for me. If I'm like I said, if I'm rebuilding, I can't buy in. If I have some extra value, I'm interested in taking some shots. Mostly, I'm just holding him where I can, unless I'm trying to compete. What are your top 5 running back ranks for 2023? Don't have time to pull them up. I mean, there's a rookie, but we can't rank him yet because we don't put him on there. It's going to be Saquon Barkley, CMC.
No. For the 23 draft. He wants...
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Dynasty now. I don't know. I already know the one. I know 2 names. I know. No, wait. I can do this. I know 2. It's Bijan Robinson, who I'm saying wrong, and then Gibbs, whose first name I don't know.
And then there's a guy named Tank Bigsby because his name is Tank.
Ooh, that sounds like a fun name. Yeah, he's in that too. Sorry, man.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Again, Devi Kane and also Travis May. They can fill you up on Devi content. I won't start my process till pretty much the off season, and I'll still catch up.
I'll
catch up by the draft. And I don't have to wonder about who's going to be declaring because I pretty much know by the time it's time. Yeah. I probably should have mentioned I have the 104 this year. No seconds, thirds. 324 first. That's nice. I made at least 10 trades. You are a Dynasty outhouse kind of guy. That's what I'm getting. I don't think that affects what I said.
That does not know. None of that information.
Should I trade the 104?
No. None of that really affects anything.
If your league doesn't value picks like they should... That's a good way of looking at it. It's the way your league is. Would your strategy be to acquire as many picks as you can, no matter...
As long as it doesn't affect your competing, yeah.
As much as I have one, is never to always do one thing. And it's not a zig when they zag. I'm trying to add points per game while maintaining value. That's that. The difference between Dynasty and redraft is there is no redraft. There is no other draft. I know that sounds basic, but let's boil it down to that. That means you always have to be finding ways to add value so you can change your team when and if you need to. That's a basic formula. So I'm never trying to just add picks because, again, they can be undervalued. Picks miss at a high rate in rookie drafts, like a really high rate. So that's also like quarterback. I tend to lean proven. Yeah, there's no one answer to that, but if you can get good deals, yeah. A lot of people in my league are full on tanking. That's been a problem for me this offseason, like the offseason before now. Like everyone already had their eyes on the 23 class, like locked in. But good assets are not paying for what contenders want for Patterson. Oh, Patterson's an interesting one. And this is why Zach says this is a great year if you want points and you want to win. And he's been full on right there on that this year. What would you pay for Cordell Patterson coming back? Was pretty good at the running back position for us for a while last year and this year.
Still not giving up a second for him until we see what his usage is going to be because Algier and Huntley have been effective. I don't know if they just walk Patterson back into what he was doing before.
That's fair. Like, should I sell Hopkins even though I'm competing? No. If you compete, Hopkins is going to... I know it's only a 2-game sample, but what I wrote up for DLF was, yes, it's only a 2-game sample this year on Hopkins, but he has a bigger sample than everyone else in the top 12 of doing exactly
He's
this.
Very, 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 very good at football.
And as long as he's doing that this year, I mean, if you want to believe in a cliff, sure, he could fall off a cliff next year. But apparently, he ain't on the edge just yet, and he's got another year in him. But again, it's what's the trade? It's what's the trade? You can explore it. Bijan, Gibbs, Zach Evans, Sean Tucker, and Tank, I believe, in one top 5. Well, I'll tell you what, those are the only 5 names I know, so I agree with you fully right now, bud. Anyone else feel like Justin Fields is diet Jalen Hurts? I can see the comparison. No,
I don't agree.
Goblinworth 112. Yes.
Yes.
I already have Evans. That doesn't sway me either too much. I don't mind rostering them. If they're 2 good wide receivers, I don't mind having them on the same team. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
A guy in my league still wants a first plus for Sky. Again, it just pays to be a little quicker than market. Again, Sky Moore's done about what Jalen Rager managed to do at this point. That's what a face planner looks to me. That's why Burks is so awkward.
I was so sad when Sky went to the Chiefs.
A lot of people thought it made it even better. 23 mid first or DK?
DK.
Mm-hmm. Overhype is real. 21 QB class. That's a good point. There was a lot of 21 QBs, right? Zach Wilson and now Fields, and they were all 21, right?
I mean, no one's walked in without. I mean, the top 5 QBs we have right now are not easy to walk into. I think by start next year, all of the QBs of the 21 class are going to be ranked higher than they are right now. So I don't think it's too much.
In Lincoln's league, they want a first for MT and Patterson as well. Again,
I am in a league like that as well, where some guy wanted like 3 seconds for Njoku. I was just like, good luck, man.
What I'd say on this one is the best 2 rookies in that class were Mac Jones and Davis Mills, and the only 2 no one wanted to talk about very much. Now, Mac Jones is struggling, Davis Mills is struggling, but it's not been much better for the other 2, you know. We only get so many great players at every position, and the QB is such a long-lived position. It just struck me this off. Like, how many top 5 QBs do you want? Like, we have as many right now as we've ever had when it was Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin before the injuries and before that team killed Andrew Luck. Like, this is as many as we've ever had at one time, and we're still like, maybe one more.
But I hope also, but Fields and Lawrence are pretty good, but they're safe. We don't have a lot of safe going on in QB lately.
Right? And read system takes time. Sky, again, I hope you're right.
So, but I don't see it, but I hope so.
But I have found a better edge in accepting when players do bad, they do bad. But you're right. There's always room for patience, and it's always about what you can get. I don't think you can get a first.
Lincoln, if you can get him for a third, yeah, awesome. I'm not giving a first. It is time to F and say goodnight.
I was hoping you'd remember to do the
look over there.